episode 17
with
my girlfriend.
Named
My girlfriend.
Yeah, that's it. She doesn't get a name.
Named Danielle Bobadilla.
Did you
I did that on purpose.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you did. Yeah, it was cool. It was a fun time. I just my tone is screwed up because the ending you guys wouldn't.
Yeah, we just fucked with you.
Yeah, it's
But,
awesome.
You know, it starts off pretty well. Oh yeah, we don't even need to go into it. Mm-mm. This is a dark one for a good chunk of it. Heads up.
I mean, it's just fine. It's not a big deal.
No, I'm just saying.
I mean, anyway, it was fun. It was actually a really good conversation. I mean, it has both light and dark parts. You don't have to make it sound super sad.
That's what I said for a chunk. We're good.
Okay. God damn it, Tub, you're still fucking with me. Okay, we're just going to start the episode.
Nick is my victim.
Why aren't your ears gauged?
Caleb hates gauges, so he won't let me.
Oh,
this is how we're gonna go.
Is perfect.
This is how this is gonna start.
So Caleb's controlling. Danny's here to tell everybody just about it.
He controls the way I look.
That's actually reverse.
That's kind of true too.
But no, I don't hate gauges. I hate like your size gauges are like perfect in my opinion. But like the big ones, I would always talk shit about the big ones.
I have double zeros for anybody that's concerned. But
anyone who's gauge savvy. But like no, like I would like talk about the big ones and joke like.
Okay, I would talk
rip
about
on
how
people.
I just want small ones, and he'd be like, "I'm so glad you didn't do that." So.
But I don't get it. Like, why? What do you got against them?
Yeah, Caleb.
Personal opinion, like personal appeal to them. Just don't find them attractive.
So I'm not hot.
No, it's cute on you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh my god.
Welcome, Danny. We're just going to be complimenting each other the entire podcast. I might actually have to go adjust your levels. I had no idea that you spoke this softly.
Oh, I can talk louder, I think.
I think that works.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
just
better.
Like, before I was just like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
My laptop I actually sent out today. And
Very nice.
I'm not going to have that back for like a week. So hopefully on the paper, it says, if we have to replace the hard drive, are you okay with that? You'll lose everything you have.
Oof.
And I put in big fat letters, no, because they gave me the option. I circled it like 3 times. I'm
You
like, no.
fucking cocksuckers,
Yeah.
no.
I was just like, please don't. And then it was like, make sure you back up all your stuff. I was like, couldn't. It died. So hopefully they have like the understanding of, please don't lose it. Like, it is just an episode.
But it was a good one.
It was a really good episode. So, you
I
know,
wish I could hear it.
you might, maybe. I honestly, it's a might.
Toss of a coin. Who
It
fucking
really
knows?
is a might right now. So you guys control the way each other looks. That's cool. So anybody that sees Caleb, that's all Danny's choices.
Sometimes.
There's a-
Sometimes.
not all her choices. She has ideas of how she wants me to look, and then I rebel from time to time.
So you're not happy with the way he looks then.
I said sometimes.
Guys,
Some
I'm
things
totally
I strongly.
fucking with you. It's just
no,
fun.
I can tell. I can tell.
I mean, okay.
Danny's getting all defensive. She's like, well, I mean, not really. So his
I mean,
haircut.
I did that.
Right. You.
Oh no, you didn't do this one, honey. We could talk about that.
I started the trend of the buzz cut thing, whatever you call it.
I was contemplating a buzz cut for a while, and
my
she was
God.
definitely encouraging it. But then, I hit a bucket point, and I was like, hey, let's just fucking buzz my hair right now in my garage. Let's just do it. My mom has clippers. Let's go. She was like, oh, okay. Get a stool, sit out in the garage. Danny, you can take over from here.
I don't want to.
Oh, come on. I want to know what you
You
did.
already know the story.
I know, but I want to know again.
Oh my god.
Refresh
So
me.
Go ahead, Danny.
I have brain cancer.
Okay.
Tumor?
What?
What?
Anyway.
Where did this come from?
I'm joking. But it was just a joke, dude.
I know. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I took the guard off the clipper and went basically shaved him bald. Just one streak up the back of his head.
Yeah, no, because we were good. Like, I just wanted a 3. Did a 3 all around. It
Not
was
hard
good.
to do, 'cause
she was like, "Oh, there's little strands missing. I'll get those."
Oh, that's
and heard, and I went, "Danny, that's not funny." Like, I don't find that joke
I
funny.
started crying.
And then
you started crying.
she was crying,
Oh,
and then
shit.
like I turn around and look at her, and it's complete pure shock, like nothing but shock, and I'm like. wow, she's really good at acting. And then I touched the back of my head and I just feel bald. And I was like, oh my fucking God. And I did the worst thing I could have done there for her sake. I was just silent.
Oh my God.
No,
He
it's
stared at me
okay,
for,
babe.
like-
It's just
No.
pure silence.
No, it was
It was
pure
pretty
silence.
bad though.
Yeah.
It was. The picture that you sent me, I think
It
I
was
still
bad.
have
You'll
it.
have to post that.
Yeah.
And so we got our neighbor who used to be a hairstylist to come over and create a miracle.
But
And
like
then I looked
when
like I
I-
was getting shipped off.
you did. Because when I went up, I went like way too high. So
Yeah.
when she tried to like level it out, like the part that I shaved up was still way higher
You were
than the
about
rest.
75% up my head.
Like,
Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't
typically,
like you got a little bald spot on like the lower third. It was like, like 3 inches higher and it would have been the top of my head. Just long ass
Oh, yeah,
streak
there's
of
no
nothing.
fade
I'm
on that.
sorry.
Just
It's all
zero.
back now though, so it's good.
Yeah, no, we're fine now.
Yeah, after letting it grow out and then getting it fixed again.
Yeah.
Letting it grow
good
out,
now.
getting it fixed, letting it grow out again, getting it fixed, and then letting it grow out.
You're
So
being
here we
dramatic.
are.
Speaking of
Okay.
which, you do need to trim off the ears. Just because it's like, it's at that length where it's
Trim
starting to-
off my ears.
Yes,
No,
like
I know
the-
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, what was I? Oh, no. There was a point I was going to make, and it's gone. And it was important.
Well, I will bring up that we are the worst combo when it comes to volume with each other because I'm the half deaf one and she's the soft spoken one. And so everything is a what, and she
And then pure frustration from her.
yes, and she drives.
true.
She drives more than I do because my car is and her car is trash.
Yeah.
And so she's always on my left side, which is my bad side. So it's
Wait, did you say his car is trash or your car is trash?
His car is trash.
my car's
Oh,
trash.
yeah, your car is
Yeah,
trash.
my car is trash.
my car's
Literally,
cute.
it's like
like
falling apart.
yeah, trash.
Mixed in with the fact that like you treat it like a trash can.
Yeah,
With all your water bottles.
so obviously it would be trash.
I'm excited for when you actually get like a new car or at least like a new work car.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
so-
really soon.
Yeah, I cannot wait for the first time I own a car from this millennia. I'm looking forward to it.
What year is your car?
97,
Oh.
and the one before that was 95.
And it didn't reverse.
Yeah, the transmission got fucked up on that one. I couldn't put it in reverse.
And he still drove it
Yeah, down to COC.
all the
That's
time.
really fucking bad.
Yeah,
Not a good idea at all.
I would make sure I would park in places where there was a spot in front of me, and if there wasn't, then Joel would push me out of the spot.
Oh my God.
No,
That's
so
horrible.
bad. I'm so glad
It was
you
like
got-
a good trade off for me, like driving him everywhere,
Yeah.
and then he'd just have to push me out of my spot. One time I parked downhill, I was bad.
Wait, you parked what?
Like I parked downhill, and so like I was like, oh fuck, I need to go in reverse.
Wait, so you had him push him by himself?
No, I helped him with that one.
Oh, okay.
But fuck yeah, that was a rough time.
Damn, that's like the struggle nation, dude.
Yeah, it was shitty, but it's all good because now I have a shitty car, but it's 2 years younger,
Uh-huh.
so it's 2 years less shitty.
Danny,
Yes,
what's your middle name?
Nicole. Nichol on my birth certificate.
Okay, so do you have any other names other than the three? Just your first, middle, last?
That's it.
Oh,
Okay.
if your last name started with an A, you're one letter off.
DNA.
Yeah, you literally could have been DNA.
Boba Dildo, right?
Who came up with that?
I don't know. I remember somebody
I
saying
think it
it.
was Dylan. He came up with that. I
So
think.
it's Danielle Nichol
Bobadilla.
Bobadilla.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's me.
Are you named after anybody in your family?
No, sir.
Any continuation of the name, or it's just all brand new,
Nothing.
fresh?
It's just brand new. I'm the only Danielle Nicole Bobadilla.
And do you have any backgrounds as to why?
My parents wanted to give me a boy nickname. So Danny.
That's literally it.
It was either Danny or Nicole for Nikki. Or I think Nikki.
Hey,
Yeah.
damn, that's not fair at all.
I like my name.
I like your
Danny.
name. I just that's like I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
I mean, if it was like a really ugly kid and you call him like a girl or boy's name, then it's kind of bad. But I mean, I was cute, so it was fine.
Look, okay. I'm gonna just explain why I'm sitting here like looking back and forth at you two because I don't know what I can talk about and what I can't. There's so much information that I know.
Hop into shit, and then we'll just go.
We'll just
I know
Yeah.
one thing. I know one thing's like off limits,
Yeah,
so
one
we're not
thing
going
is
to talk
off
about
limits.
that. But like, I don't know. Like,
Everything else is free game.
is there anything about yourself that you do lashes?
I do lashes.
Nice. So why did you get into lashes? What exactly? It's a lash tech, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't even know how that process works. Like what do you do?
I tripped the fuck out. I walked into her room. She got this like table and big ass light and fucking like Yu-Gi-Oh shit on her fucking wrist.
Oh my god. It's simple, but it takes a really long time. You just take like one eyelash extension, which is like just a couple hairs, and you put it on one eyelash
At a time.
at a time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's not like those like glue-on strips that they can just like magically pull off. It's like one lash at a time.
Do you do every single lash, or do you like,
Yeah, pretty much.
How long is this process?
When I first started, it took me like 3.5 hours.
And you're sitting there hunched over too. And you take the lash and you dip it into glue and then you stick it on one at a time.
Every single eyelash? Do you ever count how many there are?
No. I've never even tried. I mean, like the process regularly takes like 2 hours though for like a full set of lashes.
Whoa.
Rookies take longer.
Yeah. I took way longer in the beginning. Now I take like 2 hours and 20 minutes probably.
What'd you say the
2 hours.
2 hours?
Is average.
Fuck, man. I don't know if I could I don't have the fucking patience for that.
A lot of people don't.
And you're fine? Like you don't ever get
I
antsy?
like it. It depends on who I'm doing. Some people are like really irritating. So I get really antsy, but
She's like, some people are really irritating. I didn't mean to say
I
that.
didn't mean that, but
well, I mean, I guess it would also depend on like if you're having fun with the person that's
yeah, a lot of the people that I do are like girls that I know who are my age, and I like doing them because we just talk the whole time and it's fun.
The whole point of like people being annoying is actually like a solid point to make, because I don't feel like people ever say that. Everybody wants to like say that their business that they do like as either lash tech, people in my field, like whatever. Photographers, people who do nails, stuff like that. When you work with people all day, they want to make sure like that their name stays clean. It's like, no, dude, not every motherfucker that you work with is actually going to be fun to work with. Like it's fun to actually like, it's not fun. It's more like real to say like, yeah, some people just suck to fucking work with, dude.
Yep.
Like I've worked with couples where it was just boring. Like, I'm sorry, but it was, and I don't need to name them, so no one will ever really know.
So as far as you all know, you're all boring or not boring at the same time.
But to say that, at least I don't see a problem with it. Everybody else is like, you got to make sure that your customer, fuck you. People can tell when you're being fake. If everybody is your best customer, then you're bullshitting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nice to everyone, but
of course.
Yeah, that's
just
all.
some people like secretly in my head, I'm like, I can't wait to be done.
Right. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I said it.
How long was what was the process of all the lash tech stuff? Because I
to get certified?
Yeah.
It's literally a 1 to 2 day course.
That's it?
I took 2 days because it's like an 8-hour course basically, but I did 2 like half and half. And that's it.
That's not bad.
No, it's really easy.
And then you can make stupid money.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you plan, like, do you want to just stay doing lashes for a little while, or do you want to like expand and do like other things within that same general industry?
I change my mind like every 20 minutes, so I don't know.
Yeah, she'll like, text me out of nowhere and be like, I want to do this.
I do.
I'm like, okay, well, what about these other things? Oh, I'm going to do those two still. But on top of that, I'm going to sell houses. Okay.
I wanted to get into real estate at one point.
That's another fucking money maker.
Exactly. I'm
so
just
you're just chasing
money.
the bags.
Pretty much. I'm tired of being broke.
Bags. I mean, yeah, I am totally on board with the whole being broke thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't see any problem with that, dude. Like, if you have a bunch of different ventures that you want to like follow, like, as long as you can handle them and you don't just say you want to do them and then.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between like, oh, this sounds interesting, and I would love to do it, but like, you know, you're not going to do it. But then there's the stuff where it's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to do this, and then you don't follow up. That's where it's like, okay, well, you might as well just kind of stick to the one thing you're doing.
I'm just scared of failure.
Are you really?
I am.
Why?
Because I don't know. I don't want to go into something and waste a bunch of my money getting there and then not succeed in it.
I mean, it's fair. Like, there's obviously like the fear of failure.
So is it just like the money, or is it also like the having to wear the failure?
Having to wear it, I don't want to waste my time with stuff that I do. Like, I'm always scared of that. That's why, like, I took a huge break with going to college because I just didn't want to waste my time. Like, I didn't want to go for something. I didn't want to go for, like, not knowing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I don't know.
But like the action of failing itself, does that bother you?
Yes.
Like big time? You don't feel like there's a lesson to learn from failure?
I mean, yeah, I definitely think there is, but
you're just more like, you just don't like the feeling of failing.
I'd rather go into something confident. Like when I went into my like eyelashes, I was confident that I'd be good at it.
Why is that? Was that just a thought process, or had you practiced before?
No, I feel like I'm just like articulate with those kind of things.
Uh-huh.
Like I noticed, because I would get mine done and I noticed stuff that I don't like that girls do, and so I'd be like, okay, well, I wouldn't do that because I don't like it or whatever. So I just think like that helped me.
So yeah, you don't have any background in it. So really your fear of failure. Oh, my bad.
Wow.
Oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I was doing everything else. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. While you were eating your fucking burrito, I was setting everything up.
Hold on. All right. We're going to clap on 3. We're going to start this over.
Oh yeah. So, but I think from at least what you just explained, like your fear of failure depends on if you have any knowledge in like what you want to do.
Yeah, kind of. Like I really wanted to go into real estate, but I don't feel like I'd be good at it. So like it's holding me back. But I don't know, like if you apply yourself to stuff, I guess you could get good at anything. But
and like a lack of confidence also like brings that fear too.
Yeah.
Because you said like
I don't have confidence that
a
I'd
lash
be good at
tech,
it.
like you know that you have confidence in that
Yeah.
you do fine. So really, if you set your mind to whatever task, you think that
I
fear
could
would
do
just
anything.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Hell
Cool.
yeah,
So there we go.
KCET.
We're done. We figured out what Danny needs to do in order to be successful and be rich as fuck.
It's like, it's really true though, because like there are certain things that like I'll hop into with like full blown confidence for no fucking good reason that I'm going to be good at this thing. And I end up being good at it. And I look back on it and I think I'm probably good at it because I jumped in with like confidence, even though I had no real reason to be confident about it. And like, all it takes is like to have like someone next to you, like hyping you up or like, telling you that, you know, oh, like, you know, giving you excuses as to why you'll be good at it. You're good at this, so you might be good at this.
Yeah.
And then you go in there with the confidence and it almost works as like a placebo for you to like suddenly start ahead of the curve.
You ever
than
failed at
most
something?
rookies.
Ever failed at something that you were actually confident that you would do well in?
Probably. Off the top of my head, I'm not going to like, I can't
Smash
pull.
Bros when I play you.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking sure you beat him, Danny. Sure.
She beats me sometimes, but it's like,
He's
going
like
easy.
playing with his left hand.
And only his left hand. Have you ever failed at something that you were confident in, or have you not had that happen yet?
College.
That's fair.
I was like always in high school. Like I was school my whole life. I was always like super good at school, and I got like straight A's without even trying. So I took like 3 years off after high school and thought I'd be good at college, and I wasn't.
Yeah, because you took 3 years off.
Yeah, but I didn't realize like how much information I lost in those 3 years.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I lost a lot.
Yeah, like
Like-
a lot. I didn't go to college for one semester that everyone else went for. I got into these classes and I was like, oh, I know nothing. I literally know
oh,
nothing.
I slept and all the short-term memory got wiped.
So 6 semesters, and then you go back. I could only imagine your brain was
Yeah.
like, "What is this?" I don't even. Yeah. Okay. So that feeling fucking sucks, right?
Yeah,
And did you dropped
it's
out?
very
Right?
frustrating.
Oh no. Are you still going? I don't even know.
I didn't this semester. I don't know. I was supposed to go back next, but I haven't. I don't know.
You don't know if
I don't
you
know
want
what I'm
It's
doing.
an unannounced hiatus.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't see
TBA.
I don't see a problem with that, because like the only time I'd ever see a problem with something like that is if you weren't doing anything.
I'm doing a lot.
Yeah, you really are. You're like
3
you're,
jobs.
You're super busy. Okay, so what are your 3 jobs? Because I know 2 of
I
them.
don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
I am a high school cafeteria lady.
Right. Okay. That I remember. That was the newest one. Now
Yeah.
I remember.
When she walks onto the school, grounds, she immediately turns into like a 50-year-old overweight Hispanic woman.
Yep.
Fucking slouches, her stomach just she puts on her hairnet. She's just like, "What do you want?"
You want corn?
Oh my god.
Like
It's
dead
so
bugs.
true.
Just
It's actually probably my favorite job, though. It's really fun. So
is it fun? Why is it fun?
my coworkers,
Spitting the kids'
all my
food.
coworkers
Oh,
are really cool.
nice.
And that
You ever
you get to
seen?
yell at kids.
You ever seen that movie Waiting
No.
with Ryan Reynolds? It's literally about like waiters and waitresses and how they treat people that treat them like shit. Like the whole movie. There's one particular scene where one lady treats them like fucking trash, so they take her food back because she said it's not cooked right, and it's like a steak. And they drop it on the floor and they rub it around. And one guy puts his fucking pubes on it. Another guy hucks a loogie on it, and then they cook it. Oh, one guy like puts it in his pants and scrubs it around, and then they cook it and take it out there, and she eats it and she's happy.
That's disgusting.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So
Is it like a acted out movie or like a documentary?
oh, it's a fucking acted out movie.
They're
It's
not like they don't have like the
Hey,
faces
dude.
blurred and the voices change like gang
He
members
said
on.
Ryan Reynolds.
straight up. Yeah, it's Ryan
Well,
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds can do a documentary. I'm just
Well,
saying.
of course, but it's more of just like a joke. Like there's
Okay.
a whole. You ever seen when people like show you their balls any specific way and they call it like a certain name, like the bat wing? Has anybody ever caught you off guard by showing their like if you have? Okay, so
I'm aware of the culture. Yes,
but what I'm saying is like that's where a lot of the names came from. Was that movie? They do it in that movie a lot, where
Oh, shit.
they catch each other off guard and they show their balls a certain way, and then they get to kick you. I think in the ass or in the balls if you get caught. Yeah.
fuck.
Anyway, what I'm getting at with the whole like
whole
you
bat
treat
wing
kids
thing.
like shit,
Yeah.
or the kids treat you like shit. Do you just get to talk shit to them?
Yes and no. They're very like anal about what you say to kids.
I was gonna say 2 weeks later and you're getting fired
Exactly.
right now.
So you have to be careful what you say.
Right. And then your third job is like your what's your main like money making job right now? Is it lashes or is
I
it
make the most money off lashes.
okay? And then the cafeteria one, is that part time?
Yeah, I do that in the mornings, and then from there I go straight to my office job for Wendy's.
Yeah, but you got to explain what you do. Like you're a big baller with
I
that
work
shit.
for the guy who owns Wendy's, so I do like all of his.
Owns Wendy's or are they a franchise?
owns different Wendy's
Okay.
stores.
Yeah,
I was about
Wendy's
to
is
say,
a
like,
franchise, so not
CEO.
all of them. No.
She doesn't work for Wendy.
Yeah,
But
no.
you own you
He
work for the
owns
guy that owns the
4
ones.
franchises of Wendy's. He owns the Hilton Hotel, and Popeyes. Not in the AV though.
Big baller shit.
He has potential.
Wow, hearing your rants over the phone compared to now, you're so sweet.
I'm
Well,
not gonna
yeah.
get worked up about that right now.
Yeah, but obviously, like everybody has their dislikes about their jobs. Like everybody does.
Yeah, but
My boss is special.
yeah,
He's very special.
Is he ever gonna listen to this?
Hell no.
Huh?
No.
No. He could give a fuck less.
no, he
wouldn't
doesn't
sit down
like
for-
me or Joel or any of us. We walked into Wendy's one time and he scolded Danny after we left for associating with people of our kind.
He said it.
Jesus.
Of the peasant class.
He said it didn't look good for like, cause I'm like management, I guess.
Yeah,
He said
for
it
all the
didn't look
different
good
branches.
didn't look good for me to be like around them
I walked in.
because all the other workers would see it.
Sounds like a fucking.
I was wearing basketball shorts and slides.
And he kept putting his feet on the table, and Bobby was like looking at him, and I was like, "Get your feet
Listen,
off the table!" And he
hold on,
wouldn't.
Hold on. We have to remind people that this wasn't just a regular eating Wendy's table.
It's a table. It wasn't a
okay.
footrest.
It was like 2 feet off the ground, and it was
was a
this
table.
little wood table that's low as fuck.
No,
and I put my
it's
feet
not
on
that
it,
low.
and it's like a living room IKEA shit that like you put in there for like aesthetic. It was not like the Wendy's table like in the middle of the store that people eat off of.
Right.
It was a footstool.
But was
Either
it a
way.
table where you
Table
put your? Was it a table where you put your food?
Yes, and I got yelled at because he wouldn't get his feet off the table.
People eat at that thing?
Yes,
Who? Midgets?
there's chairs there. What are you like? What?
Hey.
Why are you offended?
I'm not offended.
6'2"?
I was gonna make the whole like it's small people.
Oh yeah, it's dwarves.
Yes.
No.
So, the whole table thing. go around my grandparents and do that, you fucking get backhanded. So I'm on her side on that one.
No, I bet I'd
Thank
catch
you.
a swift right hook from Wolfgang.
Oh yeah.
Wolfgang.
But you just don't enjoy your job.
He's just crazy. He's got we've had some good times, but
Some good times.
some good times. He gets me free hotels and stuff. That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Although Vegas didn't work out.
No, not this time.
Which, by the way, really excited. Totally forgot how much money it's about to fucking cost.
Yeah, we've been we've mentioned it the last episode, but we haven't really like dived into it.
Like,
Like
we
we don't
have-
have to disclose a date on when we're going.
No, well,
But, like-
definitely not. But what
but
I'm
the
getting
trip
at is-
itself is gonna be fucking nuts.
yeah, it's going to be nuts. It's just going to be pricier than shit. Joel
Well,
was
it's
talking to me
Vegas,
last
yeah.
night about like the outfit that he wants to buy. And I'm just like, oh shit, we're buying like specific outfits for this? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, I'm going to
Yes.
dress nicely, but I don't need another
Well, you
outfit.
probably have nice clothes,
Yeah,
though.
I have a bunch
Like,
of stuff
we
that I can
don't.
wear.
We never do nice things, so.
You have a bunch of nice shit that we bought during the whole...
like, our friend group as a whole, we don't go out like that.
Yeah, we're so to
Like, I
describe
have nothing to wear to a club.
to describe people, we're going on a Vegas trip with over 10 people.
12, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
total.
Yeah, I was going to refrain from giving an actual number because one of the people is a surprise, but the person who is the surprise for don't listen anyway, so we're okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't... now that you say that, that part didn't need to be disclosed.
Yeah.
Like
Good job.
Well, there we go, everybody. But I mean, it's gonna be 12 people, and what are we paying? I think it's $120 per person for the
Yeah,
rooms.
the total comes out to about $1,700 for 2 rooms.
Yeah, but
That's fucking hell, my god. I think that's the most. I go only when there's deals or like people have like free rooms because of the reason it being that expensive, dude. Like,
but
we
granted, we're
could have
getting
gone cheaper.
but we're getting 2 nights.
yeah, two
for,
nights
for 120, 30. I totally
120 a person.
yeah 120.
Yeah, but the overall price is a lot of money.
yeah, overall price is a lot of money, but we're getting nice fucking hotel rooms. So
Are we?
It's a very nice hotel. Yeah.
Huh.
yeah,
Shit,
so,
I don't even know where we're
so
saying.
regularly it was like way fucking more.
Yeah, that price was me getting a deal.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
What was the original?
I think the rooms were like $700 a night before taxes.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we got a deal. So when she's like, it'll be 120, I'm like, oh, that's fucking sick. Sweet.
Compared to literally like 240 a person almost.
Yeah, I tried to make it like without the deal to see how much it was, and I think it came out to like $2,600
For a weekend for 2 rooms.
Without taxes?
before taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like it almost would have been double in price.
Yeah, so we're good. We're chilling.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
That's why when everyone's complaining, I'm like, but
Oh
it's
well,
such
I'm
a good
definitely
deal.
not. But
not you.
I'm not saying me. I'm saying in general though. Like I'm not complaining. It's just when I look at that price, I'm like, that's just a hotel.
Oh
That's
yeah,
not
same. Like
Drinks.
that's rent for a month in a like nice house. Like,
Oh, you mean? I thought you meant the $120.
oh no, no. I mean like the total
where?
price.
Where?
Yeah.
Tell me where, please. Yeah, the total price. Yeah, that's my point for like 2 nights. It's just it's fucking nuts. And then we're going to all the clubs and we're getting all the drinks and we're going to be getting food and
Save
it's just
your
like
money.
Yeah. Yeah.
pinching fucking pennies.
Oh,
Same,
dude, I'm so
dude.
fucking stoked. Ugh, about to bring like $500 in ones.
Jesus.
Okay.
And that's just for the first night that you guys are going by yourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's just for the money that you throw on Danny.
I wish.
Well, now
She's
you
like, this beats being a lactash.
a lactash.
I do this shit where I mix up letters, and it's not like I just like mush it together. I legit swap the sounds.
So you're human.
yeah, no, it's
I
fucking
think
weird.
everybody just
Lactash.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh man,
That's like Rick Newell. That's just
I'm
my-
different. Okay.
I'm better than everybody. I don't know. It's gonna be fucking. It's fun, but
Yeah.
the fuck, dude. There's so much to talk about. I
Just talk about shit, okay?
I want to talk about the fact fucking Vegas and the plans that you guys have in Vegas. Like, I want to talk about that kind
No,
of
we're
stuff.
not going to talk about any.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
You want
It's
to
not-
talk about the
it's
one
not-
subject we don't want to talk
Oh
about?
my god! Because it's like the main fucking. That is the craziest part about you guys. Like, I can't talk about the fucking most interesting
Talking
part.
about it without talking about it. Can we move on?
No, because you guys told me, both of you, multiple times while you were sitting on that couch one of the episodes.
It wasn't multiple times. It was one time.
He told me that you told him that you guys, it's an open
then I thought
open
about
field.
it.
Yeah, you thought about it before. Now I went into this learning now that I can't talk about
You know how
anything.
many fucking messages I'm gonna get? Oh, what is it? What is it? What
So
is
the only
it?
reason they wanted me on this podcast.
Well, no, because
Okay,
it is
false.
literally the most interesting part about you guys.
Ouch.
You don't think that that's the most interesting part
No,
about you
it's
guys?
pretty basic.
Oh, I want to
wouldn't say
fucking
that's
pause this
basic.
just so I can
basic.
actually ask if we can talk. Oh, fucking never
I
mind.
wouldn't say that's basic.
That's not basic by any means.
Yeah.
Anybody and everybody that I've explained it to, they were just like, oh.
Who do you talk about it
go
to?
around blabbing your mouth?
What the fuck do you mean blabbing my mouth? You guys have. Never mind. I can't say
This is awful.
I'm uncomfortable.
Well, then change the fucking subject because I literally went into this thinking like, oh, we can expand on this. I can finally pick your guys' brains because I never get to have you guys in a room alone without people being around. And then it was going to be like in front of however many people listen to this episode. But fine. Fuck it.
Sorry.
I literally don't I don't have anything else.
Oh my god.
You guys, look, for months, I have been prepping to talk to you guys. Like, I just want to, even if we do it off podcast, which we probably will, I just want to pick your fucking brains about
All
it.
right, we'll do it off podcast then.
All right.
Calm your tits,
God, we
Nick.
just spent like 10 minutes talking about what we can't talk about.
Yeah. Oh, well. I mean, that I wouldn't have done that had I not known that I wasn't able to do that.
We literally, before the podcast, said we can't talk about this.
No, you said specific events.
That's
That's literally all you said. Okay. So, how'd you guys meet?
Twitter.
surprisingly enough, quote
He
unquote.
slid in my DMs. Look where we're at now. Twitter love story.
It's a fucking, that is the most, I don't know, expand on it. How did you, what
I don't
did
even
you do?
remember, honestly, because
Yeah,
we
I
were
don't
friends for
remember.
so long before we started dating.
Our first interaction was
I remember I was camping and you asked me to come over and I was like, nah, I'm camping. And that's the first time we ever talked.
but it was basically like I wasn't even like trying for anything. I legit was just
Yeah,
like,
no, it
oh, you
was
seem
totally
really cool.
friendly.
Let's be friends. And so
He thought I was ugly.
yeah. So I invited her over.
Wait, what?
No, I ended up inviting her over to hang out. Eventually,
Totally forgot.
she found a way to come over. For the longest time, amongst me, her, and Joel, she was known as a flake because multiple times we tried getting her to come over and she flaked multiple times.
Yeah.
But the one time,
But that was later on in the friendship. But anyway, go on.
it was consistent. But the one time that we got her to come over, it was the first time she came over. She texted me. She's like, "Oh, I'm here," and I'm like, "Oh, just
God.
like walk up. Just you can just come in because that's how my house is. Like, it's open for friends." And so she walks up to the door and she's about to knock on the door. And as she walks up, my mom opens the door to walk out front to do something. And she opens the door to this stranger staring her in the eyes. And my mom goes, "Holy shit!"
His mom never cusses.
she lost her fucking mind.
And that was
And I
my
was like,
first
"Oh yeah,
impression
hey, I'm
with
having a
her.
friend over."
Oh my god.
So that was our first interaction with my mom.
That's good.
Yep.
So it was scarring. It was exactly what I wanted. But we were friends for a year before we ever even tried anything.
Over a year.
Over a year, yeah. Before we ever even considered
Yeah.
ever doing anything. And now where we are, I can't even fathom how trying to put yourself back into that place. I can't put myself back into just the friendship.
Right.
It's completely
Well, of course.
impossible.
Yeah, I even lived with him
Yeah.
when we were friends.
What?
I became homeless, so he housed me for a
Wait,
while.
you became homeless?
I did.
She
I got
got
kicked out of
She
my
got a
parents'
disagreement
house.
with her parents.
I got kicked
Why'd
out.
you get kicked out?
And it was stupid. They wanted me to come home. I didn't come home, so I came home 4 a.m, and then they were awake when I thought they'd be asleep, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And then this fight broke out. My dad told me to get out. Thought I'd come back, but I didn't.
So how long were you living at Caleb's?
Oh, I don't even know. I was out of my parents' house for like almost 6 months. But,
Holy shit! What?
yeah. But I was with him only. I didn't want to like impose, so I think I was there probably like maybe like a week here and there. Like on and off.
I'd say it was a few weeks.
But it was like on and off.
Well, it was on and off because like there were certain days you'd like hang with friends at their place, or
there were days I'd sleep in my car because I didn't want to.
And
like,
I tried telling you like, don't do that. Like you can sleep in my place,
yeah.
but
it
no,
was
like
it was a bad time in my life.
but yeah, no, she came over. She'd have her stuff. I literally just gave her my room, and it was totally trippy because how long had I known you at that
This
point?
was like my second time ever meet. Like I think I hung out with him one time, and then
she like told me that like she got kicked out of her house, and now she's just kind of roaming the streets. And I was like, you can stay at my place.
This
and
is
I was like, I don't know this guy, but I have
literally
nowhere
the
to
type
go.
of person that Caleb is. So
I
like
know.
that makes sense.
The first time he offered it to me, I remember you were somewhere.
You were tripping.
No, but you went to your family's house for like Easter or something. So you were gone all day, and I had slept in my car, and you were like, you could go to my house and like take a shower, and you gave me like the garage code and everything. And then so like I just went there by myself. Like we hardly even knew each other. His parents were cool with it, and I like went and took a shower and ate.
No shit.
Yeah, and then like when I first like offered for her to like stay at my house, she was like, "Are you serious? Like, are you just joking or whatever?" And I just sent her a picture of like my parents talking on the couch, and I'm like, "No, they're talking about it right now."
Yeah.
And so that was like a huge reason that we bonded so fast, was because like we hung out once, and then we didn't hang out for a cool minute because she was a flake, and then next thing I know, she got kicked out of her house. So I was like, "Oh, okay, you can literally stay at my house. I don't mind. You can have." I slept on the couch that entire like time she was staying at my house.
And I'd have to get up at like 7:00 to go drive down to work at Santa Clarita, and we'd stay up till like 6 in the morning, like just having a great time.
Yeah, like, and it would be like literally just like me and her in my room, in my bed. Everybody else in the house is asleep, and it would just be like hanging out as buds. Like I never tried anything on her.
No shit.
Never like.
It was the weirdest thing I've
never
ever
made
experienced.
a move. Yeah, and she was so used to having to like, because she would always talk. She would refer to all the dudes that she would pull at the time as her hoes. And she would like constantly talk about how she always has to turn guys down and blah 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 and curve them and blah blah blah. All my hoes.
Okay, I wouldn't brag about it anyway.
To me at least. And so I was like the anomaly to her.
She's
I
like,
had
wait,
never
what do you mean
like
you don't
been
want
alone
me?
with the guy that like didn't try to get at me. I was like, what's wrong with this kid?
You had hoes?
Yes.
A huge chunk of our friendship was like us like sharing our past sexual endeavors to each other. Like, you know how like
Pretty
you sit
much.
down with a dude and you're like, oh yeah, I did this happened, this is the person I got with, there's their Instagram. Like we would like dive deep into all this stuff, and then next thing you know, we're dating. And so like so there's no secrets between us because we
Yeah.
already
Absolutely
went over
not.
everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, so like we don't have a problem even now talking about people from our past or like specific instances from our past or anything, because like we've known each other longer than we've been dating, and we've talked about it the entire time. So like we don't trip over it. Like if a lot of people I know that are in relationships, they're like, oh no, I completely avoid those type of conversations with my significant other because you know it's weird to talk about the people you've been with before. We don't give a fuck. We talk about it like actual friends do.
I'm curious.
I'm on board with that stuff. Like I'm on board with sharing it, and then got shit for it when I would share it, and it was like, but it's just being open, dude. Like,
Yeah,
it's being as transparent as
I feel like
possible.
it's
There's
healthy.
that's
Is it-
insecurity
I feel
though.
I feel that way too, but like,
That's insecurity seeping out. It's someone saying like, oh, I think I can handle this, and then they realize they can't handle it, and so they fucking react off emotion.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the only thing that I wasn't cool with, the one, like I had opened up about everything. So did my ex. Like I asked her about it before, but she wouldn't talk about it during the relationship. But there was like one instance that we had where it was, she like had told me a specific story about her and this guy and something funny she did, and she did the exact same thing to me, and I was like, no,
Well,
no. See, that's where it's weird. Like,
well, it was more than just like a little joke. It was like
Specific.
specific and in an instance where you shouldn't do that.
right.
And so
right.
I was like, ugh, really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys, or you're talking about my situation?
Your situation
Oh, yeah,
when you
no.
told me about it.
Yeah, it
Because I
was
was like,
just-
oh, how bad can it be? And you were like, this happened. And I was like, oh no, that's fucking weird.
I mean, I don't mind talking
All right,
about
then,
it.
then give the specifics.
Yeah.
I
So
avoided.
essentially, like she had told me that there was a really awkward time where she was going to go down on this dude, but she like tapped on his dick and was like, is this thing on? Like a microphone. And so one night and I knew this story, like it stood out to me. I thought it was really fucking funny.
An original.
And then, an original, like it should have stayed that way. And like, and then like one night we're laying in bed and she like, I roll over and she just like taps my dick and is like, is this thing on? And I rolled over and I went to bed because I was just like, no. I was so angry that it was just like, dude, that's so weird. That's so fucking weird, because all I felt in that moment was I'm that guy. And I was like, that should have just stayed its own thing. Like that story was so good before you did what you did. Now it's like weird. Completely tainted. So that's where I would see that there's problems with it. But it was just like, you just had to avoid doing that one thing. That's literally all you had to avoid. And then there wouldn't have been a problem. But yeah, I'm all about the transparency.
It would be like saying like, oh yeah, like this song reminds me of my ex, and then like a week later, like dedicating this song to you.
Right. That's my point. It's like, no, didn't need to do that. Really didn't need to do that.
Is this thing on? Not anymore.
It's just rolled over, got really angry, went to bed. No, I mean, you guys are still completely transparent with each other now, right?
Oh yeah.
Like about everything.
Oh yeah, no, we like, and it's totally in like a friendly way. It's not like one of those like micromanaging relationship ways. Yeah. It's more or less like, oh my God, dude, like somebody hit on me. Like,
oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He tells me his like past stories, and I get jealous that like I didn't get to experience those kind of stories.
Yeah.
Because, like, well, he has so many more than me. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Oh, this is what under the bus looks like.
No, wait. I'm just trying to. Okay, whatever.
I got to experience the go stupid,
bring up,
go
like,
crazy single thing, and she like stuck to like the same people.
Oh, you had consistent people.
Yeah, it's like the people I got
very consistent.
Yeah.
People.
The people I got with were like one time shebangs, and it was like, oh, this is a great time. We got a story, but
okay, the party one. I'm so jealous of that
party one.
He doesn't even know her name.
Okay, I know her name.
You told me you forgot.
I did, but I found my list. So
oh my God, that's true. He found his old phone with his list, but yeah, he didn't even remember her name. Like met her at this party and just hooked up. Like. What? That's like a movie thing.
Yeah, the one like time I got to like hook up with someone the day I met them.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember you telling me that.
so did Dalton.
Wait, hooked up with that same chick?
No, with her friend.
That
same night, just like rooms apart. Meanwhile, like Joel and Springer were asleep in the living room.
Oh no, that's so awkward.
Yeah, everyone kind of just like dispersed. Like even like the lesbian couple went off with each other, and like this other chick like had some dude sneak in the house, and then like me and this chick ran off, and then like Dalton and the other chick ran off, and it was just like Joel and Springer chilling in the living room watching Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, that's so fucking uncomfortable for everybody involved. Well, no, just for them mainly.
Yeah, literally just for
nobody
them.
else
No
gives
one else
a fuck.
gives a
If you're having
fuck.
sex, no one else gives a shit. You had consistent hoes. You told me about the Warped Tour chick, right? Or was it a concert? There was some concert that you went to.
It was a concert.
The chick that you randomly just like made out with.
Oh yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite ones.
Oh, that was fucking fun.
that was the whole. Wasn't it like
Joel got that shit on video?
Wasn't it just like the whole like
Wasn't
I
it
just
like
broke
a
up with my
live function?
boyfriend?
It was like this chick was on her phone. This is so weird. I'm gonna go into this like.
You said
Going
you
to
talked
story
about
about
yeah.
no, I know
What does it matter?
it's fucking funny like that. This is
I'm so uncomfortable, even though Danny knows already. So
no, it's weird that like we had all these other podcasts for like this to come up, but it's like, oh yeah, the one with your girlfriend. Let's talk about all the past experiences.
yeah, I think that actually shows your character a lot more than if you were to just have it and she finds out otherwise.
Hey, quit making fair points. All right.
Okay. So go on with your point, cool guy.
So we were at a concert. We went to see New Politics, and this guy named Andrew McMahon opened up. Or no, technically New Politics and Andrew McMahon were co-headlining because this is important details.
Okay.
It is important details. Let me explain. So his band was called full title Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. Used to be called Jack's Mannequin. Used to be called something corporate. And so the reason it plays a role is because we came to see New Politics. We saw some opener band, and the New Politics came out, and they're like this like kind of like pop punk, not really punk, more mainstream rock. And all the people who are here, the demographic fits the music. Everyone's like, oh yeah, rocking out. It's a good fucking time. Everyone's enjoying it. And then what we didn't know was we thought we missed Andrew McMahon, but we didn't. He was co-headlining this. Just for some reason, this time he went second.
I really hope this has to do something.
It does, because as soon as he came on, literally the theater emptied. Like everyone who was there to watch it left, and then everyone and then all these new people came in. It was almost as if like it was a scheduled crowd, like, oh, okay, you guys can come in now. And so like the people we were around were like our age. This was when I was like 18, 19, I think. And the people around us were our age. They were teenagers. They were like little like punk kids, and everyone was having a good ass time and jumping around and being like fucking rascals. And then now like this group comes in and everyone's like in their late 20s. And like they all are seeing Andrew McMahon because they used to listen to him like back when he was Something Corporate or Jack's Mannequin. So it was all like older people in reference to like how old I was. And so we're sitting here and we're like, oh shit, like there's like hot chicks, but they're like older. They're not like girls our age that we could like go ahead spit game at. And there was this one chick in front of us who was like on her phone like the whole fucking time. And I recognized one of the songs he played because it was song called Dark Blue, the one that you know. And I was like, oh shit, I fucking know this song. What the fuck? And so like Joel is like, holy shit, like I can't believe you know this guy's many of this guy's songs. And I was like, I don't, this isn't him. But
I'm getting so goddamn antsy.
And so I lean over to this chick in front of us and I was like, did this guy used to go by a different name? And she like looked up at me and she's like, and she kind of stopped and looked at me and I was like, and then she was like, yeah, it's he used to go by Jack's Mannequin. I was like, oh, okay, that's why. I totally fucking knew him. Like I grew up on him and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, same, blah, blah, blah. And that was like the only interaction. I leaned over to Josh, my brother, who was there, and Springer and Joel, and I was like, dude, she's fucking hot. Like she's really fucking hot. And they were like, oh, do something. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking do something. You know, I'm a pussy. I'm not going to do shit. She's a fucking stranger. The show goes on, whatever. Out of nowhere, she leans over and like goes, hey, come here. And I was like, what's up? And she's like, I really hate my ex. Do you want to just make out right now? And I was like, yeah. And without like missing a beat, she just grabbed me and started fucking sucking face. And I hear Joel go, what the fuck? He goes, I can't bring you anywhere. And suddenly I notice flashes of cameras and like videos being recorded that aren't Joel. It's like other people who are recording.
Send it to her ex.
So it legit like made a scene and I was like, oh fuck. And then her friend pulled her off me.
I hate my ex. I cheated on him like 7 times and he didn't forgive me. You want to make out?
Whatever fucking
you
works.
made out with the villain.
But yeah, and then her best friend pulled her away. She's fine. And then that was the last I saw of her. Nope, that wasn't the last I saw of her. Actually,
I have another 14-minute story.
I forgot about this part, you dick. As we were leaving the venue, she was like at the Cold Stones, the next like fucking building over, like with her friends out front, bawling her eyes out, looking at her phone.
Oh my god!
Okay, that's actually that's good. I'm glad you brought that part up.
Hey, that's her. Hi.
Oh my god!
Just watching the videos. That's good shit, dude. So you and your consistent hoes, what happened when you started? When you had to start cutting them off, were they angry?
One of them didn't take it too well.
Who?
The one that was like, I'm going to remain in your life whether or not that guy likes it or not.
Yeah,
Tough guy.
That did happen. Yes.
Fuck that guy.
Well, it was like consistent, but like one at a time. Like I never did multiple at a time. So just that was the only one that was. What?
I was just gonna say something. It just fucking doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter.
I don't want to know.
Well, you ever slept with multiple people at once?
Yes.
You have.
Like
a threesome, foursome.
Oh no.
Eightsome.
No.
Eightsome.
I don't know. You never fucking know, dude.
You mean like so
Have I had
he
a threesome
said
before?
have
No.
you had like an encounter with multiple people at one time, and you took it as have you been
I know what I
talking to
took it
multiple
as.
people?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think everybody at some point in their life has. Caleb, have you?
What do you mean by talk to?
No. Have you ever been in any type of threesome or
No.
anything like that?
No. The dream is not fulfilled.
I almost did. I was not happy with that. It was a very weird
You're
weird
like the other
encounter.
guy just kept fucking kissing me.
Oh my god.
No,
That's why we had to call it off.
no, like how you guys were talking, how you ran off with that chick, and Dalton ran off with the other chick.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine ran off with a chick and brought me and this other chick with him in the same room, and it was
Ooh.
just really, I was like 16 or 17. It was just not the business. And nothing happened with me and that chick, because guess where Whiskey Dick Nick came from that night? Where I had way too much to drink.
You had
and
that
nothing was. Oh, I had that nickname stained me, and will probably now because of the podcast for so fucking long.
Whiskey Dick Nick.
Dude, I literally
It's gonna
walked
be your
into a
contact name
party
in my
like a
phone.
few months later. Fuck you. I walked into a party a few months later, and literally there was a guy who was at that party who was DJing, and he paused the music and he's like, "Hey, Whiskey Dick Nick," and I was like, "What's up, dude? I'm gonna go fuck myself. Like, this is
Oh
great."
my God.
I
I'd
didn't
much rather like Cool Rule if you don't mind.
Oh, get the fuck out of here! That was the lamest shit
That was
you've ever said.
horrible.
And that's where we're gonna end the podcast, everybody. Because Caleb, fuck, dude, that was whack. Okay, I mean, we can get into like there was something that I wrote down that I didn't know if I wanted to like.
Hold up, are you going to talk about how like so with your encounter with the dude who like brought the three of you guys in the same room?
he brought the chick, and they were fucking on the bed. Like he was going ham.
Just
And-
like you guys were just chilling in the room.
No, like, okay, the whole situation was he was making out with this chick. She had a friend. She was eyeing me all night, and he just looked at me as like, "Yo, grab her, let's go." And I didn't do anything, and so he grabbed my arm, and he grabbed her arm, and grabbed the third girl, and we all went. And we get into the room, and I mean, he had his clothes off, and he was having
Oh
sex
my
with her
God.
within 60 seconds or less.
Oh my
Oh
god.
And this
God.
chick, like, she was really fucking hot. And on top of that, which was the craziest part, she was like a model in LA. So she was really fucking hot.
Damn.
And I was like, dope, this is going to happen. And just the fact that like they were literally 3 or 4 feet away from me. And I'm like, I think I was 17 at the time. And like that just kind of threw me off. And I was fucking drunk. I used to get like fucked up when I was first started drinking around like 15, 16. So like by the time I was 17, I was like, yeah, I'll just fucking drink until I black out. So I was like gone. And thank God I can't ever screw this up because I don't know her name. So I can never say her name. But we just, I don't want to say anything too rude. It was just like, everyone's sweating and everyone starts to stink. And I just took her clothes off and I was like, no, down. Like it was like too and
Foul.
It was pretty bad. So I was just
pretty bad.
And so she just looked at me. We were making out, and like it was like barely any light in the room. And I just kind of pulled back, and I was like, pants were down. Literally, like
Yours?
my pants were down, and nothing was happening. And I looked at her, drunk as shit, and I said, well, it just ain't happening. Stood up. She's like, "Are you fucking serious?" I said, "Yep." Pulled my pants up, threw my shirt on, grabbed my beer, and went right back to partying like nothing ever happened.
Oh my
my
god.
God.
And everybody's
You
like,
stood
"Did you
there-
get it done?" And I was like, "No."
You're like, "Oh, fucking yeah,
I was like, couldn't get up. And they were just like, "Oh, you got whiskey dick. Wait, your name's Nick. Whiskey dick Nick." And I was like, okay, well, there it is.
It has a
And
nice ring to it.
Yeah, no, it's sat really nicely for a while. So
Yeah.
pretty sure that's going to haunt me for a little while.
Definitely.
But there was I don't know, the point doesn't really matter because I don't want to swap from like fun shit into the point that I made. It was just something that I was thinking about last night. Fuck it.
He's swapping.
There was hold on, let me see what I wrote down specifically, because it was kind of like and I brought it up to Joel too, and I was talking to him about it. What I wrote down was, I was thinking that it takes one thing to stand out to someone to change their mind on the way that they think. Example is me, and how when I saw that Coke could clean toilets and could clean stains off of driveways, and like when I say Coke, I mean Coca-Cola, could like literally when cocaine,
clarification.
when Coca-Cola could literally clean stains that like other cleaning
Like
products
cleans
couldn't.
rusty pennies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I stopped drinking it. Literally, that was the last time that I like was consistently drinking it. Now every once in a while, like I'll have a sip of somebody's, but like I can only take so much because I'm just thinking like, oh, that shit is probably burning stuff inside of me, dude. It has to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of made me think of like that everyone used to talk about, oh, cut out the sugary drinks, cut out this, treat your body better. Don't put that bullshit in there. And I was just like, yeah, that's fucking stupid. And then I saw what it could do. And I was like, fucking cleaning products can't do that. And this can do that. So it's like, I cut it out. I realized that you can have conversations with people all day long about the things that, if somebody comes to you for advice or you just give unwarranted advice, but they still accept it and they don't change their ways of thinking, that maybe it just needs to be said a different way, or somebody else needs to say it. It needs to stand out to them. Maybe it's just the time of fucking day. But I feel like there are things that can just change people's minds if, approached the right way. And
a lot of the times when it comes to changing someone's mind, conversation is great, but it only does so much. When it really comes down to it, you have to like show them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and like, for example, I was like trying to talk to Joel about just a bunch of random shit yesterday, and I was trying to convince him into playing an instrument again because he used to be really good at it. Yeah. And he's just like, it's just no interest to me. Like he just doesn't. And I was like, okay, that's fair. But like when we were first talking about it, it sounded like he was interested. And so like I was trying to like dig into it and I was trying to like spark his interest and nothing was there. Right. Like he just didn't care. But I feel like if somebody else randomly, or he just walks by something and he sees somebody playing an instrument, he could just be like, yep, that's it. That's all I needed.
Yeah,
just that
I agree.
That fucking one thing that just switches your brain. And that's like, we've had conversations about that where like I'll think different ways on things. It'll just change your way of thinking. And I just find that super fucking interesting.
Yeah, everyone kind of like sometimes people change their mind off of like personal epiphanies and shit. But a lot of the times people need that like exposure.
Yeah.
That's completely out of their own decision or like free will to do so. Like they didn't have a choice whether or not they were exposed to that thing. They just were, and that changed them.
Right. I just find that really fucking wild that like I said, somebody could be telling you something time and time again. You can hear it from 10 different people, and then you just hear it from that one. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, I get it now. That's what I need to do.
Yeah. I think actually that can tie well into relationships, because like with her and I, if we get into like times where we're butting heads,
right,
like something that she could be saying to me, someone could take it word for word, but then someone else tell me, I'll be like, oh, I get it. And same thing with her. Like if I've been trying to like drill her with the point, and then like say I just like give you that exact point and I copy and paste my message, and I'm like, hey, can you send her this?
Yeah.
But then put like love Nick rule
So
at the end of
that's
it.
what you do.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny because there was one specific time that I was going to bring up so that you didn't think that was a thing. That's never actually happened.
No.
Genuinely, that's never happened. Like I would tell you if it would, like if he was just like, hey, he wants me to talk to you about this, I can say it a different way than he can. Right. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, generally like you get this clouded judgment on your significant other. Yeah. And sometimes you just need that third party.
It's different from another
right.
person.
Like remember that message, that long ass fucking message that I sent, and you were like, oh shit, that really like made me see it differently.
Yeah. And Caleb was like, that's what
he's literally was trying to say that to you. And I just texted him. I knew either I had saw him earlier that day or I was texting him and I could tell it was off. Between you guys, like whenever he's off, it's literally only when you guys are going through like just a small little rough patch. Yeah. So I'll hit him up and be like, hey, is there anything that I can like help you guys with? And that's where I was trying to explain to you that one day in the car when we were all hanging out, where I don't want to like ever intrude on your relationship. But if I can help either of you understand something, like if there's ever an issue that you can't get across to him, I've done it a couple times with him where I've like explained your side, but just in a little bit of a different way. I'm like, well, maybe meant like take a step back and look at it from she's going about it in an emotional way, but from the logical point, and I'll explain it. He's like, okay, yeah, that's actually fair.
Yeah, because it'll be like the same exact object, but like it's so funny. I guess I'll use this analogy. It's like giving a present to somebody, And like if I'm giving a present to Danny, but it's wrapped in my wrapping paper, then she already knows what's inside. But if you give a present to Danny and it's wrapped in your wrapping paper, but it's the same exact gift, she'll open it up and be like, oh my God, this makes so much sense.
Right. No, that's very fair.
But because it's someone else's wrapping paper, you treat it differently.
Because you know what's coming from that person.
Exactly.
Or you don't know.
Well,
you assume that you know what's coming
with
from
your
that
significant
person.
other. You're always so used to hearing like their justifications for things that like they grow old.
Yeah.
And so then when like you actually mean it, or like it's different this time, but it seems like the same arena.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, we've danced this dance a million times. Like you always say this, blah, blah, blah. And you get into those like routines within an argument. And that's not going to fix an argument if you're going through a routine.
Right.
If every argument's different, then you need a different conversation each time.
Because you get to a point, and everybody gets to a point in their relationship where they start to know the person sometimes better than the person knows themselves. So it's like when you start to get into a conversation with them, you get into a conversation with them and you start to think, oh, I know what you're going to say next. So you almost like have this premeditated thought that then turns your conversation that you would have originally had into points defending something that they haven't even said. And it's like you start fighting them on something where they're sitting there in silence like, dude, I haven't said shit.
Yeah,
I haven't said
it's like, I already know what you're going to say.
Right. That's my point. And that is a terrible fucking thing that literally everybody, and I don't give a fuck who you are, everybody goes through that. You eventually learn who somebody is to a certain point, and then you just know like, okay, from examples A through Z, I know that they're going to act this way. But then there's that last little variable that you didn't think about that, you know, it's going to change at the end. You know, maybe they could act differently.
Yeah. And then they'll get you kind of in trouble because you'll go with like this big ass assumption and then you'll just like hit them like as if you're like 2 steps ahead. And then you finally let the other person talk and they're like, oh no, I actually was going to say this. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Dude, I used to literally hit up when I was with my ex, hit her up in the middle of a conversation I was having with you because you made me see something that I didn't fucking see before, because I was assuming things. I was hearing her wrong. I was going about it the fucking wrong way. And it's like everybody goes through that. Everybody, literally everybody.
That's why I like truly do appreciate it when you have like someone who's friends with both significant others to be able to communicate and almost be like the middleman, because sometimes you really need that. Like couples therapy isn't just the couple, it's the other person.
It's literally a therapist sitting there. It's called therapy for a reason. Otherwise it's just called being a couple if you're doing it by yourself.
Then it's just communication.
Right. Which was actually cool because you and I went out that one night and we were just hanging out, and there was one point that I brought up to you that we like really connected on, and I was like, doesn't it fucking bother you when Caleb just like he's just so level-headed about everything? And you looked at me like as if I said something that no one else understood. You were like, dude, fucking yes. And I was like, dude, like sometimes you just want to be angry and you want to fucking swing. And this dude's just like, yeah, but no, here's a pillow. And like, take some time to think about it. And like, maybe listen to my calm voice. And it's like, no, motherfucker, I want to set things on fire. And it's like, and it's nothing against you. I love you to death.
It's great. It's a great quality.
It's a fantastic
when
quality.
You're mad.
But when you're angry, bitch, I want to be angry. Like, I just want to fucking.
And it's hard to be angry at someone who's like totally like being
who's
civil
literally being
about
a
it.
fucking teddy bear.
Who's
You just
handling
walk
it
up
like perfectly. Like, how do you be mad at that? But you want to be mad,
right? And it's just like, and that's where where I know you guys probably have this figured out to a certain extent, but it's like if she needs to be angry, or if you decide that anger is ever a part of your fucking body,
it is.
To just like let the person, like I always like an advocate for, like let the anger be, like let it happen. You don't let it, fucking sit there forever, and you don't let it control the rest of your day, but let the fucking person snap. Like if they're having a bad day, just let them fucking have let them go off about the bad day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I never stop her from going.
Oh, I never think you do.
But like my attitude and behavior and how I handle myself, like puts up this like guard on like, or almost puts up like this safety on her trying to shoot off like what she's trying to say.
I'll be like trying to be mad, and he's just like come out and apologize or something,
or some
like,
bullshit,
some crap about that, how sorry he is and how he'll fix it or something. And I'm like, no, not yet. Like, give me 20 minutes.
Yeah, just,
like you need a villain to fight against.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I don't like, and if I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll be better, then
Sometimes
there's no villain.
Yeah, like I'll be mad and I'll have like all these things I want to like vent about to him while I'm mad, and he'll just like close it right there, and I'm like, wait, I have all
When you're
these
mad
things
at
I
me?
need to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, if she's like pissed about all these points with me, and she's like, oh, you're fucking up and you're doing this, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, and I'm literally like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll fix it, like it won't happen again.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
Yeah, because she wants you to defend yourself so that she could fucking just
nah, she don't like
Pick
that
it
either.
apart.
scrutinize it more and more and more.
She don't like that either when I defend myself.
Because I'm mad.
Right. So really that's what I'm saying is like there's no way around that. And that's where like
Yeah.
I got to a point where I realized in my last relationship where if I was really fucking angry, I'd leave the room and I'd go and deal with it away from that person because it's not fair to take it out on them. And like whether that's just like, you know, your silence and you're angry, like just sitting there and just not talking because you're just angry and you don't, that's still taking it out on them because it's making them feel uncomfortable.
It's quote unquote the silent treatment.
Yeah, it literally is that. Or if like you're just yelling, but you're not yelling at them. Or if you are yelling at them or you're taking it out on them on other unhealthy ways, don't just leave, go calm down because it's not fair to anybody.
Yeah.
So that's where I say like, just feel it, but don't take it out on people. I've said that
Exactly.
in past podcasts. I've said that in past times before in any conversation. It's just like, don't aim it at people.
Yeah. And like how I conduct my text messages to her when I'm frustrated at her versus how I conduct myself when I'm texting the text message, two totally different things. Like I will be in my car fucking pissed. Like I'll like punch my steering wheel or I'll scream and then I'll be like, I truly understand where you're coming from, son.
Send. See, and even stuff like that, I don't know. I feel like, again, there is a certain amount of like, you need to let them know like you are feeling. You don't want to fucking just bottle it, like you said, where it's just like, I'm
That's a
angry
good
in my
point.
car, but I'm showing you that I'm perfectly calm in my text. That's not healthy for you.
Well,
That's
no, I
like,
still let her know, like, oh, like I'm still frustrated, but
do
like
you
I
let her
don't
know that you're screaming and punching your steering wheel?
not in the moment, but later.
Yeah.
Okay, well then never mind. That's fair.
No, I make sure to do I do everything I can to get my anger out. I just make sure that she's not hit in the crossfire.
Yeah. You know, and this is why I like your guys' relationship and why I always root for you and why I'm always like a huge advocate on like, if I can be a part of it to just help you in the right direction, let me. Like, I don't need to be a part of it in neutral states or happy states by any means. But like, if it's something that neither of you can understand, you know, and I can help, let me. Because did you tell him that you texted me after the night that him and I went out?
What?
Remember the text you sent me after, Saturday
Yeah,
morning?
she told me about that.
Yeah.
Okay. That was cool as fuck, dude.
And
like
that was 100% her. Like she went
I know,
out of her
and
way.
I figured it
Like,
was because
to give background, like we essentially got into what I thought was an argument, but her
I did not think it was.
but on her end, she just thought it was like a emotional discussion. And
we went out Friday night.
Yeah,
Caleb
and
I
it was
with
while we were out.
with a bunch of our friends, and it was a fucking fantastic time. But there was a very large portion of the night where I kept telling Caleb like, "Hey,
Get off your fucking phone."
And then there was one point where we just weren't around him for almost like 30 full minutes, maybe even maybe even an hour, where we were all eating food and you were sitting outside, and I was just like, "Why is it a fight now?" Right? And so all this stuff happened, and what Caleb just explained was that he had a misunderstanding and Danny had a misunderstanding of his misunderstanding, and there was just this big fucking miscommunication. And the next morning I got a text from Danny like explaining, "Hey, I'm really sorry, like that wasn't my intention at all. There was a miscommunication. I didn't even mean for him to be texting me. I wanted you guys to go out and have fun, so it was my bad. I'm really sorry, and I just want to apologize." And I'm like, holy fuck, like I didn't need that. I wasn't even bothered by it. I was so fucking drunk I didn't even care. But like, but it was just like, that's cool, dude. Like that shows maturity on both of your parts, that you can recognize that there was a fuck up there, that you guys can both say like it was a miscommunication, and then we've moved on past it and we just want to clear it up with anybody involved. Like,
Really Gucci.
fuck yeah.
One thing that I always
So props to you, Danny.
Thank you.
Definitely. And one thing that I always found notable when like Nick, you and I would sit down in your room and just talk about our relationships that we were in, and like like the pros and the cons and what we should do and like and what we appreciate and what we wish would fix and blah blah blah. One of the things that stood out to me the most was that you and your girlfriend at the time had all of your fights in person, and me and Danny had all of our fights over text. But in person, her and I were great, and then over text, you guys were fine. And so I always found that so interesting that like we struggled so much and still do at some points with like texting, and that's where all of our fights break out. But then in person, we're fine. But then you guys have like the exact opposite.
Well, and that's where, so I broke that down a lot because when that was pointed out to me, I was really frustrated with the fact that it was just like, I wish it was the other way. I wish I had it where you guys had it, because when you're reading somebody's text, no matter if it's your partner or if it's just a friend, like there was text that you and I were going back and forth about a couple weeks ago, and I was reading everything wrong that you were sending me. I was reading it in this condescending tone, and I literally stepped back because I have that mentality now where I'm just like, you're reading it wrong. It's not him, it's you. Like it's the reader's fault. And so when I reread it in like 3 different tones, I was like, oh, he definitely means it in this tone rather than like the one that I was reading it in, which was like condescending. And I was like, no, it's not that. So with texting, you can, depending on the reader's mood, is how they will pick up
exactly
what is in that text. And it's like, because there's no context to their mood unless specifically stated. And that's why I say in text, and you guys have probably, I don't know if you've gotten it, but you got it. I've sent it to multiple people where I will send a text and either at the beginning, middle, or end, or all 3, I will say in the most calm tone, I will say that.
Yeah, read this message.
Read this message. And then it will say it all. And then I will reinstate it at the end, or restate it at the end. Hey, this was all a calm, relaxed tone.
I've actually adopted that from you and used it before.
Yeah, he does that all the time.
When we text.
It's super useful, dude. And it's helped a lot because I could definitely see if I didn't put that, depending on how they're feeling in that moment, they could have fucking fucked up that whole text, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, the text depends on the person. The whole in-person fighting that I had with my ex was just a lot of like, we just didn't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. The fights were like, a lot of the time it was body language was incorrect. And it's not to point the blame on one person or the other, but like I would read her body language wrong the whole time and her tone wrong, because she always used to tell me like, I'm a monotone person. And I'm like, that doesn't help me understand your emotion in that time, because if you're saying everything like this and nothing is really changing, how can I actually tell what you were meaning? Yeah. And it's like, that doesn't help me. And so it's like tone, you always sound annoyed in monotone. Literally, you sound like you're just shutting that person down. Yeah. So that's where our fights were, especially with body language, because she was a very like anxious person. She would get fidgety. So it was like anxiety mixed with monotone. I couldn't read anything. Yeah. And it was like, at that point, I'm picking up words and I have to decide the tone for myself. Yeah. And it's texting in person.
That's like actually exactly how our shit is when it comes to like texting, because she'll like when she's annoyed or when she's sarcastic,
I text the same way.
Literally, there's no difference in her text messages.
I'll say something like totally lighthearted and sarcastic, and he'll come at me like with like arguments and and defending myself and all this shit. And she was like, I was kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but like it'll literally say, but her message will say, I can't believe you did that. And when
I don't use emojis.
And when she's joking, when she's like playful, when she's pissed off, when she's condescending, when she's being sarcastic, like all of this shit, it's the same exact way. And
that's hard, dude.
And so it's so hard for me to decide when I'm out with my friends if she's upset and I need to sit down and devote and if I need to sit down and devote time to this conversation that could be crucial and she could be pissed off at me, or if she's just being lighthearted. And like, so I always personally assume the worst, because it's better to assume the worst and it not be that bad than to assume it's fine and then wake up the next morning and she's
terrible
like pissed.
mindset. And that's the mindset that I told you I had in high school. I've mentioned that multiple times. It's a terrible.
I know what you mean, but like there have been times where I wasn't sure and I assumed the worst and it was the worst. And I was like, okay, phew. So like, the fact that it's worked for me is why I do it.
I think it's better to assume that you don't know.
Well, then how do I know how to respond?
call them, like I mentioned to you before. And that was something that I stressed with you. There was one night we talked in the car, and I know you remember that whole conversation, not word for word, but like us talking. And I was like, what you guys should do in that moment is just call, because at least in that moment you have a tone to follow up on the words. And I feel like that.
If I'm actually mad though, I never want to talk.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I'm bad about that. Like he'll call me and I'm like, no.
See,
yeah, I'll call her and I'll be like, okay, let's be adults and let's talk about this.
Well,
That's what I
first,
get back.
first of all, like, okay, so that whole like let's be adults thing, as much as you're saying that as a statement, that is also sometimes, depending on the person, saying that you're being a child, it's time to be adults. So even though you're not saying
so way to piss me off more.
So honestly, it could, like, all you have to literally say is, hey, I want to talk about this so I can understand your tone correctly.
Yeah, when I say that, that's when I'm letting my frustration leak out.
Right.
Because I'll be like, you know, like, all right, if we want to figure this out, we gotta be mature about it. And then like it's me being frustrated.
Literally fighting fire with fire, and everybody knows like that doesn't ever work.
Yeah.
And I want to stress 2 points. That one, the stuff that I was mentioning about my ex, like, as I always do, like, that doesn't mean that the shit that she was doing doesn't work for her or whoever else that she ends up being with.
Everybody's different.
It just doesn't work for me. Like, that literally doesn't work for me. Yeah. The other point that I want to really stress is, like, not only did I learn a lot of this because of my bad relationship and because of how I came out of it, but like, I also know for a goddamn fact that the next relationship that I get into, I'm going to have struggles, as everybody does. But now I know how to handle not only certain situations, but I know if I don't understand something, that I go to you, or maybe even Danny, you being Caleb, like one of you two, or like another friend, and just be like, hey, can you help me understand this? Maybe help me and my partner understand this, because we're only two people and we're clearly both misunderstanding each other and need like a third person's point of view that is unbiased to this.
I can't really think of a time we got in a fight with each other where it wasn't miscommunication.
Yeah,
or
everything that
or like misunderstanding on at some point. And if it was, then, or if it wasn't, then it like was at the beginning a reason, and then miscommunication even further fucked it up.
Right.
And so it's
everything you've ever
majority
explained
of the
to me,
time.
like, yeah, that's been it. It's just you guys.
Unless you can think of one.
No, I can't.
I mean, it's dope. It's really dope to just see like couples that can actually like work through that stuff. I fucking
That was
wish.
all him.
Huh?
That was all him, like, starting out, because I was not good at that.
Right. She's saying it was all
starting
you that you've built this, that got you guys this far, which is a
Yeah.
huge fucking credit. Good for you. I mean, I thought
Well,
Danny had
thanks.
some of it.
Nope, that was
Well,
him.
no.
Danny's like, no, I was a fucking monster. And
Yeah,
he just
pretty
made
much.
me into like a little monster.
I had to instill in her better habits when it came to communication in general.
Yeah.
A lot of
I don't like to talk about my feelings.
yeah. A lot of like, basically up until literally we started dating, her way of handling her problems was like, put a cork on it, toss it in the back of the room, and never visit it again.
Yeah, basically.
And so
way to
like
handle things.
I was
It worked for me.
You thought.
quote unquote worked.
I mean, okay,
But
whatever.
you can still uncork those and fucking raw emotion spits in your face, like, but and so like I would watch her like start to cork it up, and I'd be like, what are you doing? what are you doing? Are we not going to talk about this? No, I'm fine. And I'm like, oh,
That's not.
yeah. And so I like pride and like past points where people would normally give up, or you'd get an
It
I'm
used
fine,
to
it's
drive me
nothing.
crazy.
I'm fine, it's nothing. I'm fine, it's nothing. Until the point where she was pissed off and she's like, all right, fine. It was this. And I was like, wow, we could have avoided that whole thing. You
Yeah.
just would have said that the first time.
I mean, it's the frustration of you prying mixed in with the frustration that they just want to leave it alone, mixed in with like the
Yeah.
problem itself. So it's like it starts piling.
Yeah.
Why did you think it was healthy? Why do you think maybe still that it's healthy?
I don't think that it's healthy. I just think that it worked for me.
What do you mean it worked for you though?
Like
if
that's
you
just
could
how I dealt with everything, like, growing up. I never had anyone to, like,
vent to.
express my feelings to, my emotions to. So, like, my whole life, I just kept everything to myself, and it worked for me.
It worked, and then so would you say that once you realized that it didn't, that
it wasn't healthy?
It wasn't healthy, or would you still say like it works
I
for
wouldn't-
people?
I don't know, because I wouldn't say I have like any repercussions because of how I dealt with it. Like, I mean, now I have him, so I go to him for everything. But
Right.
if I didn't have him, I probably wouldn't go to anybody.
Right. I don't know. I want to dig deeper on that just because I am really curious due to the fact that like I used to do the same thing, like bottle everything up or just kind of ignore it. And now like even still after all the fucking level headedness that I've gained over this time, like I'm realizing more and more that there were things wrong. That like I said, they're coming up now.
Yeah.
So nothing from bottling shit in your past has come up now. You don't ever feel like this weight. You don't ever run into
Not
issues.
anymore. I used to.
Do you ever run into issues where now, like if something were to come up and you don't know why it's this said issue, that maybe it was something that you had bottled in the past
And
that's-
forgot about, and now
that's
it's still affecting
veering
you?
its fucking ugly head?
Like, in regards to our relationship?
No,
Like,
like
if
you
you're-
as a person. I'm
if you're
asking.
sensitive to something, or you have a problem with something, or something like triggers an emotional response out of you, and you don't know why it does, he's saying like, do you think that's something that you bottled up and tossed in the back and never dealt with, and it's like leaking?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
as everybody does. I'm just trying to think if there's anything off the top of your head where
I get like very uncomfortable when people make me emotional. Because like very
see, this is what I wanted to. Ooh. Why?
He's like, this is why I want to make you emotional.
because I don't like I've never showed people like my emotional side. Like I don't
And
know.
does it just scare you? Does it make you uncomfortable?
It just makes me so uncomfortable. I'm just not used to it. Like if someone were to like get me to cry or something,
Uh-huh.
I would like I hate that. I mean, I'm like okay, he's different, but like anyone else in general, I don't know. I don't know. It's
Okay, so for example, when you were listening to Tessa's episode and like you were getting teary-eyed on the couch and then you just literally like grudged your hair over your face and you literally looked like a demon sitting in my room, that was you just hiding, like you don't want to show it, or was it just like you were actually just that was just a position you were sitting in?
I mean, I feel like that's different because like her story was like emotional,
That had
and
to
I
do
think
with
it's
you.
it had nothing to do with me. It's an emotional story. It's a really sad story, and like
So getting you emotional in your own,
and like for my own reasons, like I don't know,
Ah.
just talking to me about stuff that makes me like personally emotional.
See, I'm glad we're talking about this now because I wouldn't want to make you like uncomfortable with any topics that I wanted to like bring up.
You wouldn't. I mean, like there's nothing that I wouldn't want to talk about. I just like
Right.
would say what I want
So
to say.
are you dealing with it now? Like, you know, getting better at the fact that like your emotions are normal and like that you're totally human and allowed to feel those things? Or is it still kind of
I mean,
odd?
like I'm not afraid of it,
Yeah.
but I'm still uncomfortable, but not like uncomfortable to the point where I refuse to like talk to people.
Yeah.
I'm just uncomfortable.
I mean, if I can give you my point of view on you, when I first met you, you're really quiet.
Yeah.
And like, especially over the past like 6 months getting to know you, especially after like we went out that one night, you've been just nothing but talkative. Like whenever I'm around, like you're able to have a conversation with me, which is fucking fantastic, by the way, because that always made me nervous. Like you always meet like one of your closest friends, girlfriends or boyfriends, and you're just like, am I going to get along with this person? I sure hope so, because I don't want to lose that friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it's dope. I just like, for example, there was something more recently that I brought up to Caleb, and it was just like dealing with like loneliness, right? And how like a lot of my time is spent here at the apartment, or when I go to work, I'm like driving by myself and even sometimes working by myself, and then coming home and my brother's not home. So like there's nobody here, versus at my old house, it was like there was someone always home, especially my stepmom was always home.
Yeah.
And always had like, especially like a parent around that you can go to, or like a really close friend, because my brother's best friend lived with us. So he became family, and it was just like normal, you know, just a normal family environment. And it made me realize now, like whenever I go to Caleb's house, I gravitate toward his mom because I just want to be around that energy of like a mother, like Alex being a mom. It's a different feeling that you get.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was recently talking to my friend Sid about, and with Joel about, was like whenever, because I very closely relate to women just because of like my mom. I was always really like close with her. When I was growing up, it was always just like, oh, you're mama's boy, that kind of thing. Like crying, go to mom. In pain, go to mom. Want to talk, go to mom. And so like I got close with women, and then like got really close with my sister, and like learned how to keep up, because women talk really fast. At least the majority of women that I know, they just fucking go, 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 especially in a conversation with a bunch of women. So I trained myself to like keep up with them through my sister, because my sister alone can fucking, it's like 3 people talking at once. And so now whenever I'm around friends, like I love just like hanging out with guys. I hang out with guys all the time. But if like there are girls around, I'll just go and talk to them because I like picking their brain. And, you know, I'm not a fucking chick. So I just want to know like how chicks think, what their day was like, what it's like to fucking be you a day in your shoes. Like I just want to, you know.
Yeah.
And so I realized what I'm getting at with all of that is it's like, it's almost like separation anxiety of being away from people for that long. And that's the kind of problems that I was talking about. Where do you see any of those things like
separation?
No, not
No, like
separation.
he found an issue
Within
that he
myself
has now
that I didn't even realize that I had until
that was
like
connected to the past.
Oh.
So yeah, all I was saying is that you said yourself like, yeah, you're dealing with some things here and there, but I was just curious if there was anything off the top of your head.
Not that I can think of. I don't know. I don't like think that far back, to be honest. I have a horrible memory.
I was about to say, don't you didn't you say that like because of like the shit that you've gone through and the stuff that like you've bottled up, you said that you think it affects your memory?
Honestly, I don't remember like my life before I was like 17, 18. Like I have to like really think about it.
It's very spotty.
Yeah, it's very spotty.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Dude, I've mentioned it on a podcast before, and I'm pretty sure someone has brought it up to you in your life, but you know about the whole thing of like your brain deletes like bad memories and all shit like that. So is that why? Did you have like a rough childhood growing up, or just rough patches?
When I was like young, I went through some stuff, and then like after that, everything just kind of became a blur. Like,
is that anything like that you don't care to talk about there? I'm curious myself, and if that's not, then we won't dig. I just want to.
Here you go again.
You're making me fucking feel
oh
things.
my god!
If you don't want to, like, we move on.
No, I know, it's fine. I lost my brother and sister, so that was really hard for me when I was young. Like, they passed away, both to suicide, 2 years apart, and so. Yeah, that was really hard for me. I didn't really have anyone to like talk to about it. The only person I would talk to before was my mom, and she had to deal with all that. So I never felt like I could talk to her about like how it made me feel, because like that just makes her feel horrible to like remind her that she lost her 2 kids, and like it's hurting me. I don't know. I just felt like I couldn't talk to her about it. So I would just kind of keep that in, and it just kind of like went from there. I would just kind of like keep everything to myself.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, especially like those are big life-defining moments, and not to have any place to express the way that you're feeling, like that can fuck you up heavily. How old were you?
I was 9 when my sister died, I think, or 8. And then 10 when my brother died.
I don't even like. Did you even know how to handle it? Like, do you remember
when my
the way
sister
that you
passed? No, because I was young. I had never experienced death like that before. Like, no one close to me. I'd never lost anyone close to me. So like, when my sister passed, I remember my parents didn't even tell me what happened, because they just didn't know how. Like,
how do you tell an 8-year-old that?
Yeah, how do you tell them that what happened?
Fuck, dude.
I didn't even know what suicide was, probably. Like,
right, let alone like you don't know death, let alone suicide,
or like depression or anything. Like I don't know any of that. So I remember they told me that it was an accident. Like there'd been an accident and she's gone. And so I was like, I just came up with things in my head that I thought it could be. And then I remember one of my friends' older sisters was like, you know, she died of suicide, right? Like she hung herself. And I was
Jesus
like,
Christ.
I was like, what? And then, yeah, so that's how I found out what happened.
How old were you when you found out?
It wasn't that long after, probably a couple months after it happened.
Shit.
So then when my brother died, like I talked to my parents about it and they told me. And then when my brother died, I'd been through it before. So, I mean,
And they were just both depression? Like that was, from what you guys know at least?
my sister was very depressed. She just her whole life, she had been through a crazy childhood and she'd been through a lot. So she had struggles with depression. And then she got in an abusive relationship and she got on drugs. So it was just like a bad combination. She got on like heavy drugs. And then when she died, my brother was like really, it just messed him up a lot. And my brother was like, he was like the happy guy, like always made everyone else feel good. And then it just messed him up. So he said, excuse me, he said he wanted to like understand how she felt basically. So he put himself through everything that he knew of that she was going through, as in like he got on drugs, he got on like isolated himself from everybody, he got super depressed after that and just messed with his mind.
Jesus Christ. How old was your sister?
They were both 20.
Good God. Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. Like I think Caleb briefly told me about like your siblings' passings. I don't think I knew.
I gave you like a very short nutshell warning, just going like, hey, this is something that's relevant in her past. So like keep in mind when being around that person. Like it's always nice to know what someone's like
Yeah, you don't want to set them off.
past traumas are, because you don't want to like make some insensitive joke or like say something or pry too hard on a certain subject that they're avoiding and just thinking like, oh, they're avoiding it because they're like insecure about this topic or whatever. And then you actually dig up something much deeper.
How many siblings do you have?
I'm now left with one psycho brother.
How old is he?
He's 15 years older than me. He's old.
You're 20.
I'm 22.
22.
So he's
37.
37. Yeah, he's
He is
got quite a number on me.
So you're the youngest.
Yeah, I'm the youngest. So there was 4 of us.
So if I can ask like a couple more questions on it, what steered you away from doing anything close to the same that your siblings did? Because your brother
I thought about it plenty of times. I mean,
like when you were that age or growing
No.
up more?
I went through like a lot of depression issues in like high school.
Uh-huh.
I struggled with it a lot, but like I always told myself I would never touch drugs. I would never do anything that they did. Kind of fell off from that for a while, but I never touched like the hard stuff that they touched.
Yeah.
Because I knew I would never do that. But even when I was like at my lowest points, I couldn't
bring
do
yourself.
like I know what it does to my family, and it's horrible. Like I would never want to do that to them, and I don't like, even when I was really really at my lowest, I didn't want to die. Like I knew there was a way out of it, and so that would never like seriously cross my mind. The idea did, but it was never like an option.
What did that end up doing to your parents? Because I mean, losing a kid, like I don't obviously know what that's like, but we've
one
all
of like
heard a story
one
about
of like
that.
the worst things you can
Yeah.
live through.
Well, it's not, they were my half siblings, so like I grew up with them my whole life, but my dad isn't their dad, so
Okay.
it didn't affect him the same way. It was obviously hard for them. He'd been through like a huge part of their life, but I don't know. Like I feel bad for my mom when I think about what she's gone through because I know it's horrible.
You ever talked to her about it? Or is that
Not
just, is it one of those
recently.
things you
It's-
guys don't talk about?
It's like one of those things we don't really talk about. Like I don't know. I'll let her talk about it if she wants to, but she's a very emotional person and like I never want to like trigger her to like,
Right. Of course.
and plus like it's been so long now that I know she's like recovering from it, or she's done a good job just like holding herself together, so I don't want to like mess that up.
Yeah, because it's been over 10 years for
Yeah.
both. Fuck, dude, I had no idea about any of that. And like, hats off to you for knowing that that's not something that you wanted to get into. Like you said, the drug thing, like that. I think that kind of happens with everybody growing up, especially not just drugs, but I'm talking about like you start questioning like what certain things do. Like drinking for me was literally drinking to black out. Until I realized that was dumb. Like you said, like you fell off for a little while, but you pulled yourself back from it because you probably saw like a bad road for you and you didn't want to be on that anymore.
Definitely.
What did you get into?
What did I do? I did E. I have done coke. Molly. That's about it.
What's the statute
Adderall.
limitation
Statute of limitations
for the
for drugs? Yeah, she's getting
just making a joke. And now like there's not even like a thought that none of this crosses your mind. Nothing ever goes like that route, right? Like whenever you get in any type of situation, like does it ever get that dark for you? I'm
Not
just
anymore.
genuinely curious because
you didn't really use those as like
I didn't use them like
mechanisms.
Yeah,
no,
They were
I
never
didn't
like
think I didn't think you did. I was just saying more along the lines of like you never saw yourself like, especially now, like veering into that road because like you said, your brother was he was a happy dude.
Yeah.
And then just decided I want to know what she felt.
Yeah.
Which I've never heard somebody doing that.
Dude, when she first told
changed
me
him completely.
Yeah. When she first told me this, it was like the biggest curveball I had ever
It's not something I tell people. Like, I think the most uncomfortable question I ever get, and people have like no idea, is when people ask me like how many siblings I have. I'm like,
yeah,
kind of one. I don't know.
right.
When we were doing Tess's episode, and Tess said like how do I answer people who ask if I have kids? Like, do I want to lie or do I want to like fuck up their day?
Right.
When she said that, I immediately like flashed to Danny telling me like, I never know how to answer people when they ask if I have siblings. Do I say, yes, I had this many, or do I lie and just say I have one? Do I like, how do I go about it? Or do I want to fuck up their day?
Yeah. Because I'm like, I don't like, what if that's disrespectful to them? Like, I don't want to say like they didn't exist, but
I mean, I guess the easiest way, if like you don't really know, would just be like, I had 3, 2 of them just passed away.
Yeah, but like you don't want to tell that to everyone who asks.
No, of course not.
And that goes into like a whole like, oh, if you don't mind what happened, and then you get like story mode every single time you meet someone new.
Right. And that's
there's only like a handful of people that even know that about me because I don't tell people.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it doesn't bother you now that
No, I don't care. It just like doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it is a conversation, like I've visibly watched her like days after she told me and talked about this get asked the question, oh, do you have siblings? And I was like, fuck, like this is an entirely different perspective on the same exact context that I've probably been with her for. And I was like, I wouldn't bring it up either. Like I definitely wouldn't, just because like it's no disrespect to like your siblings, but it's like it's information that like completely changes the conversation. It like gives people like a totally different view on you that maybe you don't want them to have. Like, oh, excuse me, like a whole can of worms gets opened, and it's like so much less work and stress to just steer away from it. Yeah.
So you had said that, and this is literally just me like asking because like I don't know these things. Like,
oh no, this is sit down and conversation.
Yeah, no. So you said basically from like 16, 17 down that you don't. There's like a lot that's just like spotted. Do you think that because of the events that happened at 8 and 10 that affected from like 10 to 16?
It affected a lot of my life because, for one, like that's not just something you get over quick.
No.
Like I was super close to both of them, and it was really hard for me to like deal with. But before my sister died, I had a big family, and we were all like super close. Like all the time, my family was great. And then my brother passed away, and literally within days, my family fell apart. Like, I haven't seen half my family since it happened.
Holy shit.
Like, so I had to deal with that for a while. And I was close to my whole family, like my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, everyone. And everyone, like, the worst time in my life, they all just kind of disappeared. So, like, it was really hard for me. And then I was young, going through, like, just dark thoughts in my head. I don't know. I dealt with it for a while, probably until, like, graduated high school is when I finally, like, came out of it.
And, like, after you had come out of all of that, do you think that's kind of when you started to accept things? Because at what point did you kind of accept the fact that, like, okay, they're gone, this is what happened?
I accepted it really fast. I didn't, like, ponder on that part. It's just hard to deal with. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I accepted it. It was just like, I could never, to this day, honestly, it's so hard for me to understand, like, what would drive you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how low you have to be to do that. So,
yeah, because like you said, you've been to your lowest. Well,
yeah, it's never been an option for
right.
me.
So it's like, holy shit, how much lower is there?
Yeah. Like, how do you see, like, no way out? Like, I can't imagine what you're feeling, what you're going through, like, how helpless you have to be to.
Do you think it's a lapse in judgment? Like, for those people that actually do, like, what are your thoughts? Because you said that you've crossed those points, right? Where it's just like, okay, this can be an option, suicide. Yeah. You've had the suicidal thoughts, but you said yourself, like, you've pulled yourself back from that, whereas they didn't. Do you think that there's a lower point, or do you think that that was the main point?
I definitely think there's a lower point. I think I've been through, like, for myself, there were low, like, very low points, but I have to think that there's a lower point, because they can't be, like, where I'm at. And I don't know. I just wouldn't accept that they were at the level that I'm at and still feel like they had to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is like a lapse in judgment, right? Like you're
But they were also, like, their minds weren't right. They were addicted to, like, meth and coke, and it's different when you're doing those things. It messes with your mind.
Yes, it does. It's a really fucked up thing that it does, because I mean, I know all about that shit. But yeah, the whole rewiring of the brain, like, meth literally rewires the brain, or the way your brain thinks. Like, that's what meth does. Like, it starts making you into a person that you're not, thinking things that literally aren't logical. So yeah, I guess that's a big factor that plays into it, because I guess that's where I'd like to know where more people are in their ways of thinking. How I said, like, is it a lapse of judgment? Is there a lower point than what, you think the lowest may be? Stuff like that, because like, I've gotten to that point. You've gotten to that point. Neither of us have done it. Clearly, we're here. Right? Yeah. And like, do you know if you've ever thought about, like, yeah, this is it. Like, I'm just at the point of suicide.
I've hit a low before when I was surprisingly young, like around 12, 13-ish, where it was like a long streak out of nowhere, where I was just like, I saw no purpose in life at all. I was like, I never would go out of my way for death, but would welcome it if it knocked at my door. And didn't know why, didn't tell anyone about it. I think the first time I really, really opened up about it was honestly like a couple months ago with Danny and our friend Dylan. That was like the first real time I like truly talked about it. Yeah. But it's one of those things where it was like, I was young and it wasn't like plaguing at me for like almost a year or anything crazy. So I never feel like it's valid enough to bring up. Right. So I have my understandings of where people are coming from. I have like certain points where I can relate to them and I can give good advice because I actually have some firsthand experience with it. But I never am one to like put my story on the table because I never feel like,
Right.
it was anything close to what other people have gone through. And I'm not saying like, therefore like, I don't deserve to tell it, but it's definitely not one of those things where I'm just going to like bring it up and be like, oh, I get it. 'Cause this one time in 7th grade, like type shit.
Right. And that's what I was mainly asking is just
I have
like,
enough for perspective.
do you think that there's like just a specific low point, right, that people hit where the lowest you could go is suicide? Because like, that's it. Like that's literally the end game of life. But then you introduce drugs, and that's what makes you act on things like that. And that's what I'm saying is like, I'd love to talk to more people about it to see what is lower than low.
I think you just have to feel like hopeless and worthless. Like you're not worth being brought up again. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like there's no way to know unless you just basically know everybody's case. Because like a point for me, which was like a year and a half ago, was literally sitting on the couch and thinking, okay, that like I literally had started breaking down because my stepmom and my dad were sitting at the table just all talking, and I was sitting on the couch because I was stuck in my head with, it was just a bunch of shit that was going on. It was being jobless and things not going well and fighting with her. And it was just all this stuff. And I just was looking at them and started actually like whimpering, crying, like, okay, I'm hopeless. This is it. Because I was looking at them thinking, this is the last time you're going to see them. And that's all I thought, because I just knew at that point, like, had there been anything around me to do it, I would have done it. And that wasn't, and like, that's the lowest I've been. But I don't know. Like it's one of those things that, yeah.
I don't know if it's because like I knew what it would do to like your family, but it was never an option. Like I thought of ways to do it, how I would do it, where I would do it, but it was like just ideas in my head. It was never like I should go through with this. Or
well, good on you for not. Shit is not ain't fun for literally anybody, as you know.
I would think that there's obviously a point where you get where you're so low that suicide is the outcome. But I think that like hard drugs, like the ones being mentioned,
is that push
can get people to do it when they're not at that low.
And that's what I was saying.
Like they can like if like going all the way down to a 10 in intensity is what would cause them to pull the trigger. If you add like meth into it, then they would pull the trigger at an 8,
right,
rather than a 10.
Right. It's wild shit, dude.
Yeah, because like if you were in the situation you were in when you were at your lowest, and then like you were given meth, do you think you would have made the recovery you did?
I don't even know like what meth does to your mind, but I know it's not good. So
no, shit is not. It's
like
not.
I don't know how that would make me feel.
One day I'll get into that. I just don't care to talk about that in particular, just because like this isn't about my stories, but. I would say that would probably be it. But again, it just depends on the person and everything, as I always say, and I'll probably hold on to this for the rest of my life is a case per case basis. Like everything
Definitely.
is, like everyone could go through what you went through and like step by step, and people could handle it all different ways.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on the person. And that's why I find like, not to be in some hopeful type of conversation, but that's why I find like human beings so interesting and so like different.
Diverse.
It's a huge diversity of people. Every single person there's only one of that person.
Dude, what blows my fucking mind and will forever blow my mind is that there are people like my girl or Tess or Caleb who walk around life day to day and conduct themselves in such a manner where you're like, oh, this is just like a normal person that I thoroughly love to like be around, and this is just one of my friends. And if you sit them down and you just go, okay, run me past your life growing up, you get stories like Tess's or Caleb's or Danny's, where it's like in a million years I never would have guessed that you went through that level of like trauma or that level of despair.
There's like this assumption that everybody that's here is here, and that they not saying that, no
that
one,
what they give off is how they've always been, or what they've always like,
and that they didn't
like to
really
be
go
like.
through much.
Yeah. Or that you would think that they've gone through an average amount rather than like some people just like open up and you see how deep it goes.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy fuck. And you realize it's much more common than you ever thought. Because I'm sure there are perspectives where people haven't gone through much and think that, you know, they're not that rare, and that a lot of people haven't gone through much. And then I also think that there are the reverse cases where there are people who've gone through, you know, hell and back, and then think that they're like one of the only ones who have gone through something like that. And because everyone else seems fine. So if they're fucked
My
up,
brother.
huh?
My brother.
Yeah. If they're fucked up and everyone else seems fine, then it must be just like, they're the unlucky ones. It's unfortunate for them.
Yeah. I had, was there something you were saying? Oh, I had, someone close to me once bring up like a story that they heard about this dude that had treated everybody like shit in his life, and he had something happen to him. And so he went out into the middle of the desert, wrote a suicide note, and blew his stomach apart with a shotgun so that he could feel everything that he had ever done to people right before he died. He wanted to feel all that pain. And it was like, that blows my mind because, and what that person had told me was like, at any moment, could you just get there? Where you just like, you wake up one day and you're just like, okay. Like, I mean, if you feel bad about yourself, obviously, like, of course you can, but to just like snap like that, to just one day wake up, you've gone about your life, not even thinking about this. And then that's it. Now you want to go like those cases are interesting to me too.
I don't know if I buy it that someone's like, fine. And then one day just done.
Why though? I mean,
Because I feel like to get to that point, there has to be a build up.
You know that girl who blew her face off?
Who?
She's like one of the few people that ever got the face transplant.
Oh yeah, I watched that whole fucking thing, dude.
She pissed me off for one, but she's kind of like what you're talking about. She was fine, and then she was just decided to kill herself.
Did you ever know about that?
I read about it and like learned about it, but only once. And
I think she went through a breakup, or her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend broke up.
It
with
was
her,
a breakup.
Her boyfriend broke up with her. She grabbed the rifle in her
brother's house. Her brother had a gun or something.
So I think it was like the family's house, like, or something like that. And she grabbed the rifle, went into the bathroom. The brother tried to get in there, and she shot herself. And that was it. Like, blew her fucking face to bits.
I remember 'cause she was like pretty before it happened.
Yeah.
And now she like,
and she survived.
yeah, now she has a different face.
Blew her face off.
Yeah. And it's like, and she fucking talks about it. And it's just like, dude, that's a perfect example.
Well, I would say like that I still understand, because like there was something like emotionally like hard to trigger it. But I'm talking about like someone who's just like fine, and then out of nowhere does it.
I
mean, the breakup is what caused it. I mean, someone who doesn't have like a cause like that.
But what I'm saying is like that guy could have just woken up and was just like, oh my God, like he just realized, like it was that one instance. It's a one, not that he literally was like, I treat everyone like shit. Okay, going. It was, I treat everyone like shit. I'm a terrible person. I decided I don't want to be here, you know, from June 17th and then June 18th. You're like, all right, that's it. Like,
yeah, I think that's possible.
That's so fucking crazy.
Yeah. I had a person that I considered an uncle, but wasn't blood related, but like my grandma raised him, who committed suicide like 2-3 years back, I think.
Jesus. And
left behind 2 sons when he did it. Just like just wasn't going through like the best life, and by no means did he have the worst. And just one day like drove his truck off and just popped one and left a suicide note behind his kids, and talking about how sorry he was that he didn't like raise them.
Are horrible.
Yeah, raise them the right way or anything like that. It's just.
I had a Jesus fucking dark ass podcast, but I mean it happens.
It's the way the conversation goes.
Sorry.
So, buddy of mine from high school. That one was rough.
The one that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need to drop his name, but he was very well known around the whole school.
That was a shock.
It was a shock to everybody
because like if you knew him, he was
a
just
super happy dude.
Yeah, just smiling all the time, had a ton of fun. I ran cross country with him. Like
he was a great dude. His wife didn't even literally had no clue, and then one day just came home and walked in on him, and it was like I still like I think about it every fucking day, if not every week. Every week, if not every day. But I'm just like, where? Like, where, dude? Where did that come from? And I remember everybody having the same amount of shock. Not a single person thought that. Like him and I briefly went over depression in high school, and like we were really good friends, and it was just like, but never anything. He never talked about it. Never talked about like if he was sad. Always a happy dude, and it just, you know, it was either he was in his head the whole time or just one day had a lapse in judgment. And like I would guarantee if there was some way for him to like see that where like this where it would be now, he wouldn't have ever done it.
I think a lot of people, if they could, you know, look at what like the week, 2 weeks after what they did, how like the ripples were created and how it affected the people that were in their life, I think everybody would take it back.
And I mean, that's also people. And like that's one of those really touchy subjects because it's not necessarily fair to say.
That's why I went back on it, because I can't be.
It's one of those things where it's just like it's such a fucking weird taboo subject that it's just like.
One thing that blows my fucking mind is like I've been listening to a lot of like history, like whether it be podcasts or lectures or just stories in general, and how like common it was back in the day for suicide to just be the option of someone who had just like failed at their life goal. Like how it was like, it wasn't even one of those things where like they sat there and pondered it, but it was more or less like this one guy, he was like a prince in like the Persian army or whatever, and he got captured. And I don't think it was exactly the Persian army because I got shit wrong the last time I brought up this stuff. So he was a prince of an ancient civilization, and he got captured, and he was so ashamed that he got defeated in battle. They just fucking cut his head off like right there and there, gut himself or whatever. But just like then and there was just like, I don't deserve to live because I lost the battle. Or like how Japanese soldiers in World War II would like, I remember hearing fucking like firsthand accounts of, like mothers who would send their sons off to war and give them a dagger and be like, if you were ever captured, use this to kill yourself.
Yeah.
And that was like the
but
culture.
Wasn't that because like it's better to kill yourself than to go through like what they're going to put you through when you're captured? It was
honor, because the American prisoner of war camps were nothing like how bad the Japanese prison of war camps were.
Yeah.
Like my grandma, she lived through World War II and down here in Southern California, and talked about how we had some Italian prisoners of war who came out here because they literally were running out of space. And so they brought them to like the Hermosa Beach jail, and they were like little town celebrities. Like everyone around like came to like meet the Italian soldiers, and they would bring them down to the beach, and they would like, one of them was an artist, so they got him like an easel and a canvas and let him paint. So it was one of those things where like you're here because of war, not because you committed any crime against us. And so like there's no like harsh feelings, it's just war.
Yeah.
Whereas like with Japanese soldiers, it was like they had some type of motto where like no one would ever be able to invade and conquer Japan, because every single last person, every woman, every man, every children, every like senior citizen would fight till the death until there were no more citizens to conquer. Like that was their motto. And it was just the culture of the time. It was like, it was victory or death and nothing else.
Jesus Christ.
And it's so crazy how like for like us in our day and age, in our culture, like suicide is like this talk of like mental health and like drug abuse and like how much it affects the loved ones around them. But then literally like within the same lifetime of people who are still around today, there was entire cultures embodied around the idea that like that was just what you did if you didn't come out
It's also
on the right side.
crazy because like I had mentioned to my grandparents about, I just had a talk with them recently, a couple months ago, about all the shit that I had gone through, you know, X amount of months ago. I think it's like 7 or 8 now. And just like admitted to my grandpa, my opa, like, yeah, dude, I almost killed myself. Like I just was at that point. And this dude looked at me with such confusion of just like, that's not a thing. That's not an option. What do you mean? Like, that's not a, he literally didn't understand because like he's raised, you know, hardcore German, like those dudes.
Do you think because he'd never like experienced a low like you, or because of the way he was raised?
Both.
Okay.
No, I think he definitely probably I think he definitely experienced lows. I think everybody at least once in their life goes through a low, and I'm talking like a fucking
Dark low.
Yeah, and I think everybody goes through it at least once, if not, you know, super low, a decent low.
So with that being said, if you think it's like the like way someone's raised or like the culture they're brought up in, do you think that like the like almost like romanticized idea of suicide in American culture like affects how regular people view it? Like, do you think that's why like people nowadays like see it as an option or think of it when they get to that low, whereas like someone like your Opa like didn't, because it wasn't like romanticized in his upbringing or his world he grew up in?
I would think that has a play with it. I also think that like it just, you know, like I can't say it never happened. Obviously, like suicides happened all throughout history, but like the way he was raised, it was like, be tough, dude. You're just going through
Deal
shit.
with it.
Yeah, exactly. Deal with it. You'll get over it.
Yeah.
And so versus where it's like now in American culture, it's more of like, oh, you're going through a hard time, especially like with the internet going around and people just like kill yourself. It's like, whoa, dude. Know what you're saying, like really know what you're saying. Like I didn't realize, because I obviously like as a kid I used to say that shit all the time, until I realized like how serious it was. And I don't remember the last time I said that, like, you know, just go kill yourself, unless it was like a joke to a friend, literally.
Yeah, I don't think I've
Why would it not be a joke?
Yeah.
When would you say it that it's not
Well,
a joke?
Like if you're getting in an argument with someone or someone shows like their nasty side
And
of
they're
you,
just
Dang.
like, just go fucking kill yourself. It's like, do you,
I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, me either.
I don't think I've done it. Like, have I ever? I mean, honestly, it's been so long that I really don't think I have. But again, I'm down to be proven wrong. Like if there's some fucking tweet out there, but I don't think I've ever done it out of like spite. I think I've only ever like made jokes about it. But the last time I made a joke about it, I don't know, a long fucking time. Like when I say the joke about myself, you know, like, oh, kill self, just joking, right? But then I realize once I get done saying it, and I've said this around you, I'll say it and I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. Like I instantly regret going at that, because it's just like,
I would do that all the time. I would do that all the time.
But that's what's crazy is like, you got to really think about what you're saying. Like that shit's fucking, that's a large statement.
It's heavy.
It's very heavy. So it's like, yeah, maybe not make the joke about it.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on like the company you're with and how well you know them. Because like,
of course,
in our tight knit friends, I can say that shit, and I know I'm not going to fucking like
right, but yeah,
push any buttons. But like when you're with people who you don't really hang around much, you don't really know their past, you don't know what they're currently dealing with, it's very, very insensitive.
You know what's crazy, and it's kind of what you had said, like you can meet all these regular people and then just hear about their story, is like, I would guarantee about 90% of the people that you know, everybody knows in their life, 90% of the population has some fucking weird stories, dude.
Yeah.
Shit that really like define them or fuck them up, or
Yeah, everyone's always interested in like the celebrity stories, but people don't realize that like the reason so many celebrities have so many fucked up stories is probably because so many people have fucked up stories, and it's just like this person ended up being a celebrity.
yeah. Emilia Clarke, I kind of brought it up to you, the chick who plays Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
was talking about like her, you know, everybody knows her from, oh, you did all 8 seasons as Daenerys in the show. And it was like after the first season of the show, she had a brain aneurysm at like 20 something years old, super young. Had this super traumatic experience. If anybody's even interested in it, she did like an interview with the New Yorker, but I was reading through all of this, and she had one. She didn't realize obviously she had one. It was like she thought she had a really bad headache, and then she was like viciously throwing up at a gym, and then she got rushed to the hospital, and they did immediate surgery on her where they went through like the femoral artery to go because they didn't want to crack open her skull. And get the surgery done, goes through some super fucking traumatic experiences because when you come out of a surgery like that, there's a large percentage that you can, there's a large percentage that you can die. There's a large percentage that you lose your memory, lose your ability to speak correctly. Like you want to say words. Motor skills are gone. And so she came out of the surgery and could not remember her name. They asked her for her name and she was in her head, like she couldn't think of it, but she was saying words that she had no control over. Right. And then they did like a scan either later that same week or sometime later, and she had a second fucking aneurysm on the other side of her brain, and that they were going to leave alone because they said it was small enough. So she did like either season 2, 3, and 4, or just 2 and 3 or 2, whatever. And they went and did a scan again, and that aneurysm had doubled. So, and doubled in size. So they had to crack open her skull this time and do that surgery. Goes through this. I'm sitting here thinking this chick is just badass because this is her, like, this was her first show ever. Like, she had only done like plays before this.
Damn.
Yeah, which is fucking
That's
nuts
cool.
because she's like one of the most sought out, like, female characters, has this big fucking image on her, which is another reason why the last season was just, there's no reason to get into that. But she going through all that shit, and you would have never had any idea that, and she admits to it, and she's like, this is the first time I'm talking about it publicly. She wanted to kill herself through all of it because after the first surgery, she wanted to just pull the plug because she didn't want to live in fear of literally just dying on set. She said for the next 3 or 4 years after having that first surgery, she just thought she was going to die every single day and would have major anxiety attacks and hyperventilating and had to constantly like lay down and was always tired and all this shit until one day she just did one random interview and it went away. And it was just gone. It was like she's been fine since, and now has like charities to like support like brain damage victims and like, people that go through similar situations to hers. And it's like, again, stressing the fact that you're looking at this chick, got this badass life, like the last fucking season of Game of Thrones. I think it was every episode or just the season. I'm pretty sure it was every episode. She was paid $500,000 per episode.
Fuck,
man.
God.
Her and like 2 or 3 of the main actors and actresses in that show were paid the same. So about $3 million because it was 6 episodes, $3 million for that season. So you look at her and you're just like, damn, your life's tight. No, the first half of that show, it fucking sucked for her.
Yeah.
And she opened up about a lot of it. But yeah, I'm just talking about like you think an image of a person like exists and then it just gets completely fucking torn apart when you hear or read about like what their life was actually about.
That's why it's cool to get to know people, because it's like with everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's one thing that we had mentioned to Tess and we mentioned to like every guest is like at some point you're probably going to get a message or two from somebody just randomly, whether it's a friend or like a complete stranger or just somebody that you know of that will just like talk to you about this episode and just talk to you about like,
because they can relate at some point,
right,
or know someone that can, or just strong accord with them.
Like the amount of messages that people reached out to Tess with, like she was showing us every single one. I don't even know if she showed us every single one.
No, she definitely didn't.
But some of them, it was like, I think she showed us a good 10, and it was just people reaching out and people literally making posts about her and like
complete strangers,
messages,
granted, she had tens of thousands of followers on Instagram,
of course, but I mean, like even
but then again, her episode only got like 300 views out of like the tens of thousands.
J-Bug reached, I think, or wanted to. Caleb Lewis Henderson texted us and was like, I want to reach out to Tess, and it was just like
Brandon reached out to her.
Brandon did, and then with like Alex, same thing with her. she had no idea. And then more recently told me like, yeah, a few people reached out to me and like, we've talked about, there's certain situations and how this made them feel better about their situations because, they finally didn't feel alone. And I'm like,
dude,
that's what I want.
It's so cool. It's so like trippy to know that like we're helping like this like community form of people who now have like personal connections with complete strangers just because like they opened up about something that that exact person who messaged them needed to hear.
Yeah, I just want to give people like the platform, right?
Yeah.
Like you were just having a conversation. You didn't come on here like we didn't know what to talk about. Literally in the beginning of the first
Well, Nick had his one thing you want to talk about.
yeah,
Oh my
fuck
God.
off. And then like for 15 minutes, probably 10 or 15 minutes, like I don't know where to go. And then it just randomly opens up. And for all you know, it could just be that one person out there that's never talked about it, talked
Yeah.
about a certain situation. Even if it's not the, obviously a similar situation, it could just be like the strength that you had in talking about it gives me, the urge, the push to now be open with my situations. And
Yeah.
it's dope, dude. It just can keep expanding that way and expanding.
It's great what you guys are doing.
It's fun.
Keep up the good work.
Well,
Thanks, boss.
Thank you. If you guys didn't know, Danny actually runs everything for us. She's just behind the scenes. Yeah. She's here for every episode
Yeah. I control what they say.
and control what we look like.
Yes. The gray shirt, me.
To switch up the tone a little bit to kind of like get us to a where are we at timestamp wise? Just
It's not where we're at. It's more of where Nick needs to be.
Oh, what do you got?
How much more do you want to switch up on?
Well, what do you got? Give me a time frame we could fit whatever in.
I mean, I can text my stepsister. I have to drive to Disneyland basically tonight. It's almost 8:00.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just don't want to get to her place too late. But I mean, okay, go ahead. Like, as long as we'll see.
One thing that
I mean, it depends on if you expand on a story that's like 2 minutes and makes it
my
15.
God.
I'm joking. I'm
Oh,
joking.
God.
Just don't ask.
Go ahead.
one thing that I noticed that Danny and I are good at as a couple, and I credit it to having like a good friendship prior, is we don't, at least I don't think we do, make people feel like they're like third wheeling or you're like, oh, they're around that couple that's like always on each other or whatever. Like when we're around like a group
We
setting.
hardly even act like a couple when we hang out with people.
Yeah, like when we're around people, like we like almost like switch on like friend mode. And
If we
like
go out to a party, I don't see him all night.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah.
okay, it can reverse.
Obviously, we're not here to defend your relationship. You're not. What?
I didn't say it
She
in
didn't
that-
say.
Oh
She
my
didn't
God.
say you
Oh
ditched
my
her.
god, I made a joke.
She's just like, guys, I don't leave her behind. I promise. Like, why did you defend that? Do you do that?
But yeah, no, like I like being like that because then I don't feel weird if like we invite one of our friends to hang out and it's just us. Like,
I literally feel like I'm third wheeling through this entire podcast.
oh, good.
Shut up.
You guys have literally been having sex this whole time.
Welcome to the Danny and Tub podcast.
It's so
We
You've
make
been
that
replaced.
same stupid corny joke whenever we can, and we're never going to stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was really weird actually when we were friends because of
Transitioning.
like, yeah, like a little bit in the transition, but like how like strong our friendship was. Because like we would send each other paragraphs about like how much we loved each other, but just as friends.
We had this deal where like if we were single and I think I was 30 and he was like 29, we were gonna get married.
I literally have that exact same deal with somebody. It just says like,
yeah, like I feel like everybody makes one of those
Yeah,
deals. But like we
So it was
hopped
like
on
not
it
an
earlier.
option for us to date when we were friends. Like,
Dude, no.
that never crossed our mind.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like I was aware she was pretty, but I wasn't attracted to her,
right.
and she just thought it was
And
ugly.
he was the white boy that I did not find attractive.
No, yeah, like I
That's
wasn't.
so fucking crazy, dude.
No, like I wasn't her type, like at all.
Huh. That's fucking
And
nuts.
so it wasn't even like a consideration of like whether or not she would date me. She was just like, oh yeah, he's super dope. Just one of the friends, one of the buds.
I remember the guys that I would like be talking to when we were friends would get jealous of him because we were so close.
Mhm.
And I'd be like, oh, trust me, you have nothing to worry about.
Oh my God.
Fast forward.
Look at us now.
You had everything to worry about. Just nobody knew, including us.
Including me.
Damn. I mean, like I said, like I don't.
Give us a time frame.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. Do you want to touch on?
Actually, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh
Go
my
ahead.
gosh.
Go ahead. Just go ahead. I don't. That's the thing. I don't want to like restrict you or constrict you, whatever you want to call
You're
it.
kind of restricting.
Oh, will you just stop?
Like it was interesting how we ended up even like growing a attraction.
God.
Like on my end, it was more or less like I know she's hot, and so I'm just gonna like be like, hey, like if you're ever bored,
Oh my God.
No.
I'm here. Like one of those things. And she was like, you're not my type, and I was like, okay, well then you're friend zoned. Like I threw her in the friend zone,
This
but
is such a lie.
but like I was already there. But like I was one of those things where I was like, oh no, I'll throw you in the friend zone because like just to fucking say that I have some control over the situation. And she didn't like that because she was like,
That is
no,
not
you.
what happened.
Well, you were like, no, you don't decide if I'm friend zoned or not. I decide if I'm friend zoned or not.
I had all the power.
Start fighting, please.
I had all the
have
power.
way more
Look
than
at
5
what I
minutes now.
created.
You said you had all the power. What?
I said, look at what I created.
You.
You say you get what you created? What?
Look what I created.
Oh.
This relationship. Because
Well, if you didn't talk like this the whole time, then maybe I could hear you.
Auto gets
fourth
sticking
time
that shit
I
right
said
now.
it.
It actually might. Like, there's a lot that I'm gonna have to listen back on.
Whatever. Everything he says just now is a lie.
Okay, from your end, what changed me from your type to, or not your type to your type?
I lost my vision.
Wearing glasses.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's just,
That's why.
it's a fake out, dude.
Basically, my best friend told me that she heard that Caleb.
Oh no. Okay, well, this is where I step the fuck out. Go ahead, dude.
Oh God.
Go ahead.
Where are you going? I'm telling you.
Oh, I know the story, but you go ahead. You have to explain it anyway. I just had to check the timestamp on that.
Yeah, basically, my friend told me that she heard that he's really good in the sack.
Who calls it that?
Wait, don't you know about that?
No, I
Yeah,
know,
he
but who
does.
calls it good in the sack? I've
Oh,
never
you don't-
heard that.
You've never
Plenty
heard
of people.
that?
No.
Oh, literally, like
That's a thing.
Maybe he is young.
He's a
Yeah,
baby.
I'm younger than both of you, so.
Oh no,
Yeah.
baby.
So cute.
little chubby cheeks.
So yeah, it made me curious, and we started talking.
But like, what like actually triggered attraction? That's actually what I'm curious
I
about.
don't know. I honestly don't know.
I remember you guys just fucking avoiding dating. Like you guys just wasn't going to be a thing. And then
At first, it wasn't.
I just remember like saying, okay, we'll see.
Well, this is one of those things where like I had girl best friends in the past and had gotten this
Different. The way you talked about her was way different.
But it had gotten the same shit all the time. Oh, like you guys gonna date? You guys gonna date? And I'm like, no. So like when Danny came around, I was like, no. Like every other person since here has been a no. And then for some fucking reason,
There's different ways that people talk about other people. And it was anytime that you talked about her was like, okay, we'll wait. And I remember telling you like, I'll wait. I remember saying those exact words like, I'll wait.
you're making it up.
I'm not making that up at all because I remember before you guys were starting to date, you fucking used to talk about her all the time. And I was just like, okay, go fuck yourself, Tubbs.
I literally said that just so I could just get that. That's what I needed. To make it
Like
like
fucking shove this microphone so far up your asshole.
Oh my god.
so, to make it like cute, I had a physical attraction to Danny, but like neither of us really were like.
But I hated who she was.
Yeah, basically it was just like ooh yay, the outer shell. But like we both had like a budding lust almost where I was just like, oh, we're interested, maybe we can fuck around. And then literally the moment we kissed for the first time, it was over. I full blown feelings, knew I wanted to date her, like in an instant, like total fairy tale Disney movie shit. And
You're so happy. You're so fucking giddy right now.
because I had never like ever experienced anything like that before. Like every girl that I had ever had feelings with prior, I like caught feelings before I even kissed them, before anything. I was just like, oh, like you seem really cool. Like I want to like see like if we can turn this into something great or whatever. And then every other girl that I had ever like hooked up with, it was just like, I knew right off the gate, like I wasn't going to try a relationship. And like, that was what I was sure I wanted. And so like, I had not been wrong ever until like this point. And then we literally kissed for the first time. And fuck, I don't, what did I say? I said
He
something.
didn't say anything.
No, but I said something about like, oh, like that was so like, we shouldn't have done that, or that was so bad or something like that.
Oh, yeah. So he kissed me, and then he was like, I was leaving his house, and he was like, that was so bad, turned around and walked away. And I was like, yikes.
But I said so bad, like, oh no, I can't believe what we just did. Like, I can't believe what we just started. Like, that was like I have a ton of feelings now. Like, that was so bad because we had such a good friendship for so long up until this point. And then like, you know, look what fucking happened. Like, we both knew we were going to make a move because like, I remember vividly, she purposely said goodbye to every one of my friends at my house but me, and then gave me a look and then walked out the door. And I was like, okay. So I, pretending to be clueless, walked out the door too, and then like said my goodbyes in private, and we ended up kissing for the first time. And I was like, up until this point, we had been just good friends.
And
Everything was
that's when I
great.
hooked him.
And it was immediate feelings, like strong feelings right out the gate. And I stopped and like pulled away, and I was like thinking of like everything that just happened within that moment. And I was like, oh, this is so bad. And then I went in the house, and I'm like,
And I just drove home, my 30-minute drive home, going, oh my God.
dude, I went in the house like butterflies and like totally like fallen head over heels. She thought I hated it. She thought she just did something awful and that she fucked it up.
You fucking said the wrong thing.
Oh yeah. And
now again for the 400th time that we've said it, and now we're here.
yeah. But it was one of those things where it was like, it was very hard and very fast with feelings, but we knew our connection was strong already because of the friendship. So it wasn't like, it didn't feel like we were rushing into things.
Yeah, no.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's cute.
It's pretty cute.
Okay. Well, I hope you got all your ooey gooey stuff. Feel good?
Oh yeah, ooey gooey stuff.
Yeah,
I'll be
ooey-gooey
the ooey gooey one this time
I
around.
don't care. I was just asking because like you really wanted to. What the fuck is that look for?
It was a joke, Nick.
I know it's a joke. All I was saying is, did you get your ooey gooey stuff out so that you felt like what you wanted to say was done?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I was asking. Goddamn. And you have been fucking smile since he started. Not that that's a problem. Goddamn. Sorry, my tone's really bad. My apologies. I'm glad that you get. I'm serious. I'm glad that you get stoked when he talks about that stuff and that you don't get
It's
uncomfortable.
cute.
It is. It's cute.
It's cute.
I don't mean to be an
I hope
asshole.
you guys all
I'm
puke.
not trying to be. I think my tone has been coming off completely wrong.
It hasn't. We're just fucking with you, and it's working.
You just
Yeah,
don't
it's not
get
fucking
it.
fun, especially when I'm sitting here like, am I saying something wrong? I'm sorry.
Hey, that stop.
Stop.
Chillax, bro.
Stop overthinking it. You're fine.
I would really like to end this now.
You would.
I'm chilling.
Yeah, but I don't got to be anywhere.
I will fucking leave. Okay,
Danny and Tub podcast.
that's fine. Go
Get
ahead.
outta here.
I'd like to see you guys. I'd like to see you guys run one.
No.
No.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Danny, for coming on
Thanks for
finally.
having me.
It was a week earlier than normal. What we had Monday planned next week.
Yeah.
So it just worked out.
It
Because
did.
Myth, I work 3 jobs and busy all the time doing lashes. It's cool to have you on.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen her in months.
Okay.
Anyways.
Okay. So episode 17. Again, thank you for being here because I have no idea where we're at. And all right. I'm just gonna go ahead and
I want to do another episode after this because I feel like there's still so much we can talk about.
Oh yeah.
No, I know, but I just want to mention it. Like,
With
I'm looking
me?
forward. Yeah, with you.
Oh,
Looking forward to like more that we do because like there's so many different like stories and perspectives. And
Well, I
things
wish
we
you
can
guys
get
would have
into.
fucking went a certain
And
direction.
thanks,
instead-
guys.
well, you
Little
cut it
listening.
short because somebody has to be at Disneyland.
Well, we can talk about it now
We've
if you
been
want.
going for fucking 2 hours and 15 minutes. What do you want?
Well, we can talk about it now. The
Tess
thing
got
that-
4 hours. I still got 2 left.
I didn't have a time frame, and I also didn't have somebody fucking sitting here the whole. I don't. What am I talking about? I just need to end it. You guys are fucking with me.
Oh, we were just
Thank you
about to
guys
get
for
into the
tuning
thing
into
you wanted to
episode
talk about.
17. We're definitely going to close this down now. See you later.
Bye.